Saturday Night Football on ABC. Brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's.
Oregon fans are outnumbered here tonight, and here's the reason why. From Eugene to Arlington, it is over 2,000 miles. Catch a jet. But from Baton Rouge, 465 miles to drive on over. So Tiger coach Les Miles down below with the third member of our team. Let's go to Aaron Andrews. Aaron.
Brent, thanks so much. Forget about the players' nerves. What just happened to you when you ran out of the tunnel? Where were you going?
They were so hot on my trail. If I would have stayed in their path, I'd ended up underneath them, I promise you. They wanted out of the tunnel.
I think you got a little confused. Hey, let me ask you about your quarterback, Jarrett Lee. Starting for the first time since '09, what was the last piece of advice you gave him before he ran out?
Just play the plays that we call, enjoy himself. He's earned the right. Enjoy the day.
You too.
See ya.
Grant, back up to you.
All right, Les won the flip. He deferred. Oregon will get the ball to start the game. There's Chip Kelly. The first wrinkle here today, LaMichael James is back deep with Kenyon Barner back to return this kickoff. Here's your Heisman Trophy candidate from Eugene. So we have a wonderful scene here tonight. The Duck is certainly ready. Let's settle back and enjoy the opening kickoff. Underway in Arlington, and Barner at the 5-yard line brings it out for the Ducks, and they will have it. There's a penalty flag comes flying from behind LSU. Big 12 conference officials. Scott Novak's our referee.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 96, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, here comes the quarterback, Darren Thomas, and a year ago he was wearing number 1, Herbie, and here he is in his high school number out of Houston, number 5.
Yeah, back in his home state, and remember the last time we saw the Ducks, they were unable to run the football, and they relied on his ability to throw. They need to get him settled into this game tonight and get him into rhythm early.
Going to throw on first down. LaMichael James on the sideline, and he's out to about the 18-yard line.
When it comes to tempo, you know, big part of what Oregon wants to do, and the umpire's going to have to be ready. And this is a crew out of the Big 12. They will need to get the tempo going. A big part of that is wearing LSU down throughout the game.
At the mesh point, it's James going for the first down. Can he get it? Yes. Muscles for it. And another penalty flag down at the 35-yard line, thrown in the LSU secondary.
Like a potential chop block there by Josh Huff. Trying to pick up a block. These receivers are very aggressive with their blocking.
Personal foul, flipping on the offense, number 1. Half the distance to the goal. Second down.
Chip getting an explanation from the field judge as we take a look at some of the fellows who are going to make an impact here tonight.
We talked a lot about Darren Thomas, but he's going to need help. And LaMichael James and Kenyon Barner both in the backfield, and both can come out and catch the football. You already saw LaMichael make a play. And 2-A on the outside. Jeff Mayo is no longer here for the Ducks, and 2-A has to be the leader on the outside.
They have to get to the 23-yard line for a first down. Thomas to try and throw for it. He is well short. Out of bounds. And Barner was the receiver. And there's another piece of yellow down on the field as Tyrann Mathieu was the defender, and he's a dandy in that LSU secondary.
The challenges of
Personal
playing
foul,
that first
leg
game
whip on the offense,
against the
number
quality
74.
opponent. Have what, 4
Half the
plays
distance
and
to
3
the goal.
penalties?
Second down.
Had one on the opening kickoff, and they had a couple more now.
Yeah.
So the stage fright here. Opening night jitters.
Everybody anxious to see this Oregon retooled offensive line. A lot of new faces, including a freshman at center in Grasu, against his strength of LSU, which of course the depth and speed and talent of their defensive line.
So with that penalty, the ball comes back near the 5-yard line, and they've still got to get to the 23. Dangerous spot here on second down for Thomas and the Ducks. Incomplete. The tight end was the intended target that time, and that will bring up a huge third down. And the Ducks are back on their heels here early.
Yeah, and you're not used to seeing Chip Kelly's offense going in the other direction. And when they get into second and third and long, that's obviously exactly what LSU wants to see. And John Chavis will bring in 6 defensive backs to match up the speed with the Ducks on the perimeter.
Very dangerous for Thomas from his end zone. Hit on the release, incomplete. Ducks are forced to punt.
This is the challenge against LSU. Kiki Mingo will come unblocked. Lack of communication. You have some new faces up front. The crowd is into this game. The defense is taking advantage of the emotion, and a miscommunication forces on a long third down Darren Thomas to throw that football before he was ready.
LSU can wind up with great field position. Matthew, the return man, standing on the Oregon 45-yard line. And this is a short punt. Excellent field position coming up. Does take an Oregon hop. Fielded near midfield. Here comes Matthews. Matthews tries to get the sideline. He's out of bounds across the 40-yard line. Now it'll be Jarrett Lee. But Herbie, the one negative that I see about him is that in his career he's thrown as many interceptions as touchdowns.
Yeah, and he's made some changes. Most of those interceptions came in his freshman year, where he threw actually 7 pick sixes as a freshman, the year after LSU won the national championship. He's been in a backup role the last couple years. What I love is he committed to lose the weight in the offseason, knowing he more than likely would be a backup. All of a sudden there's the issue with Jordan Jefferson, and he finds himself in this huddle as a starting quarterback.
End zone 39 yards away. Here comes that running game, and the last time this young man, Ware, found this field, he gained over 100 yards against Texas A&M in the Cotton Bowl.
And Spencer Ware has great power, a lot of physical abilities, about 225 pounds. You're going to see him a lot tonight, number 11. Also, Odell Beckham, he's a true freshman. They think he could really help out with the loss of Russell Shepard. And of course, Ruben Randall on the outside needs to get vertical tonight against the Ducks if they overcommit to running the football by LSU.
Veteran offensive line. And here comes Ware again to daylight across the 30 for a first down on their first series. Michael Clay with the tackle.
Well, this is what LSU feels they can do against the undersized Oregon front seven. They feel that that veteran line, Brent, that you talked about, can not only win the battle up front, but they can get to that second level and get into the face of the linebackers. And if you give Spencer Ware enough room, he can get downfield in a hurry. And just a couple plays in, Jarrett Lee looks very, very comfortable because of that big offensive line in this running game.
Sticking on the ground with Ware. He pounds to the 25. Ball goes down. Ball's loose. LSU jumped in on top of it. That ball came free. Oregon signaling that they've got it. It was bouncing on the turf. They'll try to unpile the big fellas down there. And LSU keeps it. That's a big save down there.
It's something that Spencer Ware, who's a high school quarterback, needs to be prepared for. And that ball definitely came out. And boy, it's right there. And Mitchell, this corner, dives on it. And then it's a free-for-all. LSU very fortunate to get back on that football. It looked like the linebacker, Michael Clay, might have jarred that football loose.
And Ware might have gone back and recovered it, Herbie, as we looked at the end of that replay. Regardless, it's a second down and 10 here for LSU. And now Alfred Blue comes in as the running back, and LSU shows a power I. And this is Blue's first carry. So It'll be 3rd and long coming up as Stuckey is in there. And so pretty good defensive series here for Oregon against this offensive line. Focus on the man in the middle, Herbie. Lonergan is a great veteran, his 16th start here.
Yeah, very athletic, intelligent, like most centers are, has to make most of the calls. You know, just watching this early, LSU has a size advantage up front. They're going to keep committing to running the ball. Oregon starts to cheat those safeties up. LSU will definitely play action and try to get behind them. This is a big 3rd down.
Could be the first pass of the game for Lee. Checks over to the sideline to see what they want to do from the gun. Across the 20 for the first down. Slips, comes back with his footing, incomplete. And it is 4th down. And of course, LSU was without their great kicker of many years, who is not here. He moved on, graduated, and they always rely on this kicking game. When you're at Les Miles, Jasper was just one of the best in SEC history. And so now they will come out. And this is Drew Alama. He has taken over, and that number 30, of course, is passed on to the kicker. This is a 44-yarder to give the Tigers the lead. Looks good. LSU settles for a field goal. So if you're an Oregon fan, you can say, hey, that could have been a touchdown. But they'll need a ton of number 21 to get back in this one tonight. We'll be right back. We welcome you back to Arlington, Texas. You knew the Duck was going to travel that 2,000 plus miles. He'd be here tonight for this one. So here we go. Allen to kick it off again. This is Barner again, this time from the 10-yard line. Excellent return, and the key thing is I don't see a penalty flag on this one. Herbie, we've got a holiday weekend Monday night college game, ACC battle. Miami taking on Maryland. What's your thoughts about that one?
Well, you have 2 new head coaches, and Al Golden and Randy Edsall taking over. Of course, all the suspensions for Miami, the distractions off the field. Golden, I think, will have his team focused. Stephen Morris steps in at quarterback for Ja'Cory Harris. And Danny O'Brien, sophomore year, after a great year as a freshman for the Terps. Be a good one.
Again on first down, Herbie, and a little bit high on a crossing pattern. Tuanay coming across, and it'll be 2nd down and 10 as a result of that.
And even with an incompletion, they're going to go hurry up. Very important to get the tempo established here for Chip Kelly in this offense.
Mesh point, James looking for daylight, and that big defensive front jumps on him. It doesn't get much. It's going to put you in 3rd and long.
Always think about these teams in these first games getting ready for Oregon. They've had 7 or 8 months to prepare for the tempo. It's very different from having just a week to get ready. And this early in this game, LSU getting lined up and ready for this tempo of Darren Thomas.
They stack the front. Thomas goes down the middle, incomplete, and they are forced to punt. Had a crack at it. That would have been a first down if they'd have made the completion.
Darren Thomas right now, I think, is feeling some of the pressure from LSU. It's the 2nd, 3rd, and long that he's had to deal with in 2 possessions. Ball is behind Vaughn. He had enough time to be able to execute, but I just don't think right now Darren Thomas has been able to settle in and get comfortable into the flow of this game.
Herbie Matthew is back on the field to return this, and Jackson Rice standing on the Ducks 20. First punt not too good. This one a lot better. And it drive Matthew signaling for the fair catch, and he goes down around the 15-yard line. So much better field position if you're an Oregon fan. And LSU will have to go the distance, leading it by a field goal.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online, only at southwest.com. The Chevy Model Year Wrap-Up. Get in on our greatest model year yet. And Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
The house of Jerry Bell. Hey, Herbie, look who's been duck hunting. Mike the Tiger.
Mike is ready.
Ware is back on the field, number 11 as a running back. And on first down, they'll run him nowhere. struggled to get back the line of scrimmage. Herbie, during that break, you should pass along to the audience what you were saying about the LSU passing game. It's important.
Well, it is very, very important because I'm sensing that Oregon's starting to commit to stopping this run game. And one thing that's been lacking in LSU's attack the last 2 years is a vertical passing game. But we talked to them this week, and they said, you know what, we're going to pound them, but we also know we're going to have to try to get the ball thrown behind them because they're going to start to stack the line of scrimmage, and we're going to have that ability to throw.
Well, there's a swing pass on second and long. They get it to Beckham. Now there is a young man whose mother, Herbie, you were telling his mother was an All-American track runner at LSU. Pops was a running back at one time.
Right. Yeah, he was. I mean, think about that gene pool. Not very bad, right? Your mom's an All-American at LSU running track. Dad played football at LSU. They think he could fill the void with Russell Shepard now out. 33 is definitely a guy to keep an eye on if they can get the ball to him in space. Big third down here for this Oregon defense.
And Alfred Blue comes in to pass protect on this third and long for LSU. Lonergan checks the front. They've identified the Mike linebacker. Snaps it off short of the first down. Short of the first down by a couple of yards. And in that situation, in third down, you've got to get that receiver to that marker. And that was Beckham again.
And that's part of being a true freshman. I think he slipped at the end of his break here trying to get back to the football. And he's right at the line, or right at the line where he needed to get the first down, and that's why you want to see him go just a little bit further to give, in case you do slip out of that break, you're at least beyond the first down marker. But a big stop for Oregon.
Here's where the Ducks are going to miss Cliff Harris, suspended for this game, starting defensive back. Returned, I believe, 4 punts for touchdowns a year ago. Barner will replace him. Now he's an outstanding return man, and Brad Wing, the Australian, is back to punt. And there's a whistle before the snap.
Delay.
And a delay of game that'll cost Wing
Offense.
5 yards.
Penalty. Fourth down.
A bit of a costly mistake. You're going to take a 5 if you're down on the other side of the field, trying to give yourself more punting room, but not here.
And field position has been so big for LSU and favoring them, and I think part of the momentum with this home crowd essentially here in Dallas or in Arlington, and the way this game has started, anything that Oregon can do to kind of weather the storm and tilt the field back to their advantage is big.
The Ducks thought that LSU might want to fake that last one. Now they sent in their special team personnel, and this will go out near midfield. Not a particularly good punt for LSU. And the Ducks are going to have their best field position of the night when you come back. Can Darren Thomas and LaMichael James light it up? We'll find out. And the home of the Texas Rangers off there to the right. So a World Series and a Super Bowl in the house that Jerry built, which is where we are. LSU leading Oregon. The Ducks Derby with their best field position of the night. That aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires for superior performance inspires what they roll into yours. So here we go on first down at the mesh point. It's LaMichael, and he's down to about the 46. You're predicting that Oregon's going to get the offense going now.
Well, they finally have good field position, and it's the first successful first down play that they've had in their 3 series. They at least moved the ball forward, and when Oregon doesn't have success on 1st and 10, it's disaster for the offense.
Now on second down, wide open. Near the first down marker over there is DeAnthony Thomas, the young sensational player for Crenshaw High School, touching the ball for the first time here tonight. He figures prominently in the Ducks' plans.
He and Josh Huff and Kenyon Barner have to be big tonight, one-on-one in the pass game.
And LaMichael for a tough first down against that SEC front. The chains will move now, and they're across the 40.
Watch the little wiggle here by James. I mean, his man is beaten. The freshman center that time, Grasu, gets pushed right back into the backfield by Brockers, but the vision that time and a quickness and acceleration got the first down by James.
James again, and nothing moving in the middle when you go up against the SEC. You know, Herbie, when you look around the NFL at the rosters, and Chip Kelly knows this as well as anybody, you are up against premier defensive linemen from LSU. Les Miles has put more in the NFL over the last 6 or 7 years than anybody in the SEC. I mean, those NFL rosters are sprinkled with defensive linemen from LSU.
Without a doubt. And the linebackers also so far have been freed up to be able to make plays against James.
There's that inside pitch to LaMichael. He's got some daylight. Busts across for a first down. Beautifully executed by Darren Thomas.
That is a great recognition and a great call from the sideline. They saw Kiki Mingo, number 49, upfield. See him to the right, and he's going to get upfield. And because he gets upfield so quickly, it sets up perfectly the shovel pass underneath the speed off the edge by LSU. Mingo took himself out of the play, and it allowed James to get upfield quickly for that first down.
This is the most impressive offensive drive of the night so far. And the receiver should have had it. Got right through the hands of Carson.
You're right. That's a play you have got to make, and it's the second time we've seen them on 1st and 10 throw the ball out of the backfield to the right. One time to James, which was called back, first play of the game, and then there to Carson. And of course, now we got a great white shark getting some air there. Shark Week.
That's Paul Westhead. That means go fast, fast, and faster. That was the up-tempo basketball coach. 2nd down and 10. That's how they signal in formations and sometimes plays. Now Barner in the game gets the carry, and he's eaten alive. He couldn't get the corner trying to turn it, and Matthew up to make the play.
Well, again, a lot like Auburn, this is the SEC. You cannot get to the sideline. You can't get to the corner against this defense. You've got to be able to find vertical seams upfield, north and south. If you try to bounce things, even LaMichael James or Kenyon Barner, against LSU's defense, they just have too much speed for that.
Paulson lines up in the backfield on this big 3rd down. They'll slide him out. Thomas to the middle, caught at the 15-yard line. A huge first down pass to Justin Hoffman. He's a junior from Eugene.
Well, I think it's a miscommunication that time by Hoffman coming right to the middle. 2-8 also breaks it off to the middle. They almost collided, but Hoffman's able to secure the football for the first down.
Big 14-yard gain on that 3rd down. Now it's 1st and 10 at the LSU 15.
It's the first time we've seen Oregon beat Oregon, and LSU's defense now a little bit more back on their heels.
Play clock inside of 10 seconds. Under pressure, tries to get it outside, and nothing doing because Simon made a fine play right there. Simon was all over the receiver, Josh Huff.
We've talked so much about this LSU defensive line, but you know, they lost Patrick Peterson, and you think, wow, the secondary might be taking a step back with the guy who was picked in the top 10 of the NFL draft. This secondary, as a 2 deep, might be as good as anything, not only in the SEC, but anything you might see in the entire country.
Second and long. Checking back over the sideline.
See Matthew at the bottom, number 7. He's a playmaker for the LSU defense. He looks like he may be coming off the edge.
Inside of 10 now, the play clock. Handing off. Power run toward the 10-yard line, so they pick up a few yards. They make 3rd down manageable here with LaMichael James back on the field.
What LSU is doing with either a defensive back or an outside linebacker is they're rushing upfield. Oregon's adjustment to that has been to go underneath it with the run game.
Quick throw for that screen and incomplete. So Oregon can't hang on to the ball a little bit. That was Murphy on the outside that time, and you would think here comes Rob Beard, the very reliable field goal specialist, the junior from Fullerton, California. He kicked a 42-yarder last year at Tennessee when Oregon went in and won in Knoxville. 10 of 13 overall a year ago, 77%. This is a 29-yarder for the tie. From the right hash. Slipped it through. Inside of 4 minutes in the first quarter, Oregon and LSU are tied. We welcome you back to the Cowboys Classic with Kirk Herbstreit, Aaron Andrews. I'm Brett Musburger. LSU kicked the field goal first, and now the Ducks have tied it. So Oregon will kick off for the first time here tonight. And it is LSU which has to be a little bit concerned about the lack of offense here so far. Claiborne is back deep along with Brooks. That's Claiborne right there. Claiborne up to field it from the 8-yard line. He'll try to get the sideline and does for a good return out to about the 28. Well, let's get an update, and here's Robert Flores in our studio. Robert.
All right, Brent, Taco Bell studio update. Game on ESPN between number 5 Boise State and number 19 Georgia. The Bulldogs uniforms currently blowing up Twitter. Here's Brandon Boykin blowing up the Boise State off defense. 80-yard touchdown. Georgia out on top, 7-0 first quarter.
And here, Robert, we're deadlocked at 3. LSU trying to generate offense. They've had only 21 total yards. They've had good field position. Jarrett Lee with a power eye.
8 men up close to the line of scrimmage.
Here's Ware on a toss play. Picked up about 3 yards.
Greg Stedralwa, the offensive coordinator for LSU, saying, you know, the last couple years, a lot of times we block things pretty well as an offense, but there's 9 guys up at the line of scrimmage because defenses haven't respected our vertical passing game. And he said, we are committed, even with a new quarterback and a lot of new receivers. There he is off to the left there in the white jacket. He said, we're committed to throwing it downfield if defenses are going to try to load up the line of scrimmage this year against us.
Second down and long. Play action. Tries to get deep middle, and he's got it. And the ball's put down, and they're waving it off. It looked like he had a big gain in the hands of Claymore, but he couldn't hang on.
What a big hit that time by Eddie Pleasant, who's become one of the leaders of this defense, and he separates him. That is really, really close to being a fumble. But Eddie Pleasant in position lowers the boom that time on Clement. It sets LSU here for a big third down, but there's the vertical passing game. There they are trying to keep that secondary honest instead of loading up the line of scrimmage.
Needing 7 yards here. Keep this drive going. It's going to be close. He's got it. Battles for the first down. Beautiful run by Spencer Ware after the catch. Outstanding all-around athlete. Not only a good running back, but a good receiver out of the backfield.
How about the effort here by Ware? I mean, right there, I don't think he has it. But that second, third, and even fourth effort that time by Spencer Ware gets it. You can see where he needs to get. He's not there yet, but that effort right there got across for the first down. Powerful young man.
Michael Ford is now on the field as Ware goes to the sideline. And they'll use the fullback. They did not surprise the middle of the defensive front of Oregon. Not a big gain on first down. You would think at some point, with the way Jarrett Lee has thrown his last 2 passes, that they would start pitching it on first down.
Well, that's the time. If you're going to try to go downfield, the time to do it is 1st and 10. You're not going to wait the 2nd or 3rd down. You've got to take your chances on 1st and 10. And if you've watched Oregon, that's where they're putting a lot of guys and committing a lot of guys to the line of scrimmage.
There was movement on the right side of that line coming across.
On the offense.
Will Blackwell may have jumped.
5-yard penalty. Second down.
Now Mike's trying to get. He's trying to get over there. He wants to check the Georgia-Boise State game for just a minute, and let me see if that remote can get that. I'll come back to my Tigers.
How many people can relate to Mike today? First Saturday, college football season, kick back, got your remote, got your chores done, ready to watch some football all day, all night.
Costly 5 yards. Second down and long for the Tigers. Straight back. Hit on the release. One-on-one, incomplete. High in the air went Boone, and he couldn't hang on. Had a shot at it. Gilden with coverage for the Ducks.
I'll tell you, Gilden did a good job at the last moment of getting his hand up to be able to get the ball away, but the pressure got there, and it forced Jarrett Lee to throw the ball off his back foot. Stuckey does a good job, and because he throws it off the back foot, he underthrows his receiver, and that's what allowed Gilden to come back and eventually find the football and knock it away.
Nick Aliotti dialing up some pressure here And he's got LSU in 3rd and long. It's an impressive start for a defense that had to replace a lot. Bad snap. Free ball. Ware goes for it. And he's down. Ball still loose. Still free. Did the Ducks finally get it? Yes, they did. Jarrett Lee wanted to call timeout. Walked away from it. And the veteran Lonergan snapped it anyway. And the scrum was on. And the Ducks have come up with a huge turnover. Locambo recovered the fumble for Oregon, and Jarrett Lee is explaining to Les what went wrong. And there's Lonergan over there with the coach.
And Jarrett Lee looked like not so much the timeout, but maybe making an adjustment to the protection. He sees the blitz, and he's pointing over there, and the center decides to snap the ball Lonergan on his own. The ball is free. Oregon, the entire defense going after it, and they catch a break here and get great field position.
Great time to strike after a turnover. All of you know it. Fires a slant, and they get it to about the 13-yard line on 1st down, and that makes 2nd and 3rd so manageable for him. 2-A, the receiver.
They motioned James to the left. It cleared the linebackers out and came back to 2-A to the right.
Thomas keeps it in the air, incomplete. Didn't want to chance an interception. There was good coverage on the outside. 2-A was the receiver again, and Josh Huff was also working in that area. Now you come back to 3rd down, but you've got only 3 yards here. One of the things we note tonight with Chip Kelly, he has gone to the pass much earlier than he did against Auburn in that national championship game last January. He stuck with the run throughout much of that game. Here he's keeping the ball in the air. Incomplete on the slant. Huff, the intended target.
We kind of anticipated him having to do that against this LSU front. The challenge, Brent, is you're breaking in some new receivers and you're going up against a very physical LSU defensive secondary, and they are locking up those Oregon wide receivers, and they're not getting any separation at all. So it's easy to look at Thomas and say, why isn't he completing enough passes? He's 7 of 15, but the LSU defensive backs have locked up these Oregon receivers.
Herbie, you told me yesterday you thought this could be a low-scoring game, and here is Beard with a 31-yarder. And Oregon goes up, but I'm just sort of curious when you said it to me. You know, we've got this high-powered offense certainly on Oregon's part, and you thought maybe for a time that LSU might have to match points, but you said right away you thought we could be in for a low-scoring game here tonight.
Yeah, I really thought that because I have a lot of respect for LSU and John Chavis, and as good as Oregon is on offense, we know how good and how athletic LSU can be. And I'll tell you, Nick Aliotti, I don't know if enough people appreciate the job that he does for Oregon. When you think of Oregon nationally, just always about the offense and Chip Kelly. But Nick Aliotti's the guy that kept them in the national championship and slowed down Cam Newton and kept him within striking distance, and they lost a ton off of that defense from a year ago, most especially Casey Matthews and Spencer Pasinger and Kenny Rowe, and there's Nick Aliotti. He's retooled this defense, and early in the game, they have really made a commitment to the line of scrimmage, and they're basically saying this: if you're going to beat us, Jarrett Lee is going to have to beat us by throwing the football, because we are going to stack the line of scrimmage and make Jarrett Lee show us he can throw the ball.
Is there a chance we're going to see Mettenberger in this game, the JC transfer, or what do you think?
I would be shocked if we did. He's got great physical tools, but understanding the scheme and understanding the defenses right now, he's just not quite there. So I think Jarrett Lee is going to have to get it done. That's
number 8 right there. Had a cup of coffee at Georgia, went to junior college, and transferred into LSU. He brings great size, 6'5", sophomore out of the state of Georgia. Beard's kickoff in the end zone, and it'll come out on the 20. Let us go quickly to Robert Flores for another update. Robert.
All right, Brent, another SEC school in trouble. Earlier, it was Auburn. Tonight, it's South Carolina. After crawling within 3, East Carolina's Dominic Davis finds Joe Womack, and the Pirates are leading on the road in Columbia, 24-14 at the half. Meantime, South Florida leading Notre Dame 23-13. Once a game, that game has gone to a weather delay in South Bend. Brent.
All right, Robert, so they've had problems with the weather throughout the Midwest, and I know that up in Ann Arbor, I believe that game was shortened because of weather, and they beat Western. The Wolverines did. Michael Ford checks in as a running back on this toss play, kind of hitting behind the left side. He stays on his feet with great balance. And he's down in the 30-yard line, and he was tripped up by Boyette, the fine safety.
Here's a fresh set of legs coming in with Blue, and he does a good job. Right now, Oregon's got that play handled, but Blue doesn't give up on it. He keeps his legs moving. He bounces to the outside, gets away from the safety, Boyette, and picks up some big yards. But that's what it takes right now for LSU to be able to get some yards on the ground. It takes the back to be able to break a tackle because there are just so many ducks up close to the line.
The youngster Beckham back on the field as a wide receiver. 1st and 10. And this time Lee will come up throwing. Takes a deep drop to the 20. Fires deep. Beckham can't hang on at the 40-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 10. And Gilden has been all over the receivers here. Now they've got to pick on that redshirt freshman at some point.
Absolutely. And there it is on 1st and 10, Brent. You and I talked about if there's a time to try it, it's on 1st and 10 off of play action to try to get those safeties up. This is a great call. Even though you don't hit it, you at least try to let the safeties know you have it in it. And there's the true freshman. Beckham almost comes up with it. Gilden does a good job. Gilden's made 2 good plays against Jarrett Lee.
Now LSU has not aimed a ball down deep at Ruben Randall, number 2. He's their best veteran receiver. Remember, Russell Shepard has been suspended. So Randall, number 2, split out to the right, and Lee rolls in that direction, looking for him, tosses it out of bounds, and Randall was covered that time. As we've come to the end of the first quarter in a battle of field goals, Oregon leads LSU 6-3. This presentation of Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Well, Herbie, former LSU offensive coordinator Gary Croton told the Baltimore paper this week, Coach Miles, good on defense, good special teams, and tries to win the game in the 4th quarter. He's now at Maryland. He says he could be more wide open with the offense over there.
Well, and let's not argue here. I mean, it's worked for LSU. That success, that plan has given him a lot of success. But I think the reason LSU fans get a little bit frustrated with Coach Miles and with LSU is because they win games. But sometimes it's excruciating to watch, and it gives you an ulcer when you're sitting at home and you're watching and they find a way to get it done. But give them credit. The formula that he has come up with defense and special teams and field position and just kind of being smart on offense, a lot of times they're good enough to beat most of the teams that they play. But I will say this in the 2nd quarter. To beat Oregon tonight, and with their speed, they're going to have to do much more than just run the ball and be conservative and just try not to lose the game on offense.
Now Barner is back deep again for the Ducks, and this is a beautiful punt. Back to the 15, running backwards, loose, free ball, touchdown, LSU. Matthew picks it up and runs in, and LSU strikes.
Somewhere Cliff Harris is saying, boy, I wish I didn't make a big mistake. I wish I could be there for my teammates. But that's Les Miles football. That's part of the offense, man.
Just what we talked about.
That's on the play sheet, right? I love it. Right on cue.
Alaba misses the extra point. Can you believe it?
Let me tell you something. When you need a play, you turn to your playmaker, Matthew, who last year as a freshman made it happen, and he gets off to a huge start here as a sophomore campaign.
A 3-point lead. We'll be right back. The LSU sideline is following that wonderful punt, Herbie.
Wow, amazing by Brad Wing. What a job there driving back Barner.
And he's back on the field. You can see the coach encouraging him when he came off after the turnover. Here comes Barner, and he brings out around the 25.
There's Wing right there. And even if Barner does not fumble that. The interesting thing is the way that, again, in a low-scoring game, it tilted the field, and then, of course, they still end up getting the break.
But another penalty against the Ducks on this kickoff return. Well, let's take a look at the Pacific Life game summary. So we've had a couple of turnovers, and both squads have struck. But LSU missed the extra point, so they lead it only 9-6 right now. Not much offense so far, only 28 yards for the Tigers. And now, Herbie, bad field position to start here for Oregon. They're back in the shadow of their own goalpost here.
This is where LSU can really come after the Oregon offense.
And they do just that, just what you said. They jam the point of attack at the 10-yard line. Anthony Johnson, remember his number 56. He's got a great future. He's a freshman.
True freshman. They call him the freak. And how many times in the SEC have we heard a defensive lineman? That's a compliment, by the way, because of his physical ability, quickness, and power.
Tough spot here for Darren Thomas. There is the young man, Anthony Johnson, and they have put him over on that center. Grassu with his first start. Play fake, hit on the release again, going deep, and intercepted at the 45-yard line, just across midfield. And Simon makes a fine interception on the ball.
Darren Thomas just put it up in the air and just kind of hoped that his guy would come down with it. But this is LSU. You have Mo Claiborne as a corner. You have Tyrann Mathieu as a corner. And the third corner is Simon. And by the way, he's 6'3", 190 pounds, long arms. And when they play nickel, they put him out there isolated one-on-one because of the confidence that they have. And that time, he goes up and over Josh Huff and makes the play. It's tough to get vertical against this LSU secondary.
Ware is back on the field as the running back. Quick slant. Oh, almost. Is it picked off? He said he got it. This will go to instant replay. He's going to take it the distance. This is Boyette, who went down for the ball and took it into the end zone. But hang on here. Did he catch the football?
Brent, it's going to come down to whether or not he got his hand under the ball before the ball hit the turf. Did he get his hand under the football? Let's take a close look. It's off Peterson. A great effort by Boyette. That ball touched the turf.
Field was a catch,
great effort
interception,
there by Boyette.
and then the receiver was down. The last play is under review.
Yeah, this ball is going back to LSU. At least on first look. Let me have a second.
Ball's thrown behind Peterson.
No question.
Again, tremendous effort, but the ball, without a doubt, hits the turf. That's a great look right there.
Yeah, it's a
Really
little bit
look.
of a short hop. So it's going to be LSU football. No question about that right now. Big 12 officiating crew. D. Anderson is upstairs. Jim Blackwood has run the monitor backwards and forwards. He's taking a look at the same angles that you have at home, and this one is pretty easy to determine.
You know, going back to the play call, 1st and 10, they tried to throw the ball off of play action, and I think that's going to be an important part, but I love the call there on 1st and 10 by Les Miles and his offensive staff.
It was ruled an interception, but no return is what they ruled. But this ball is going to be given back to LSU on an incompleted pass.
Although they must be taking plenty of looks here. I mean, you and I seem to think one look, bang, incomplete. Let's go, 2nd down.
I don't find this one hard.
I don't either. But they're making sure week 1.
They might have been trying to figure out where the line of scrimmage was so that they can put it back, is probably what they were doing at the end of it, Herbie, not to jump on the replay official.
The football hit the ground, therefore incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd down and 10 at the 45-yard line.
probably brings up 2nd and 10 after all that. And we are, what, just starting the second quarter. How many yards do we have? LSU has 28 yards and Oregon has 60 yards of offense.
2nd and 10 coming up for Jarrett Lee. There's the numbers that you referred to. From the gun, tossing to the middle, incomplete.
It's a far cry from Baylor and TCU.
Oh, what a football game that was last night.
Are you kidding me?
How about
Robert Griffin?
If I'm an NFL scout, I'm going into Waco this week.
Oh, without a doubt. Now, he's off this week. Stephen F. Austin and Rice get ready to crank up the Heisman machine for Robert Griffin.
He laid that ball over defenders' shoulders. Who's the last quarterback to torch a TCU defense?
He's a quarterback who happens to be athletic. He's not an athlete playing quarterback.
You would like the young man. It's basketball games.
He was on the set this morning on game day.
That's right. He showed up with
a
nice
kid. Yeah.
3rd down and 10. Firing. Whoa! Lit up at the 49-yard line on 3rd down by Michael Clay. What a future he's got as an Oregon linebacker. Hello.
And Brent, with Casey Matthews gone and Paysinger gone and Kenny Rowe gone, Michael Clay, and Nick Galeotti told us this, he's the glue this year for this defense. And that was a big-time play there, textbook technique there on 3rd down to give Oregon the football back.
That was Landry who was the target, and welcome to college football. Freshman from Louisiana, part of a very, very good recruiting class. Barner is back deep, and here comes Wing. Remember with that great punt? Now a fair catch by Barner up to the 20-yard line. It'll be Oregon football. They're down by 3. We'll see what Chip Kelly dials up here on offense.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online, only at southwest.com. Nissan, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy. And Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's.
Now we are back in this beautiful stadium. If you ever get a chance to see the Cowboys or one of these college games, I really guarantee you'll enjoy it. Darren Thomas hands off, and Michael James looking for the all-time record, and he's got it. I believe he's got it. He needed a couple of yards.
And he got 2.5.
2.5, he got it. So give him the career record for the Oregon Ducks on that run. What an unbelievable career he has had so far. So your all-time leading rusher. Quick strike to the outside, and that's DeAnthony Thomas. 2nd time he's touched the ball. Boy, he shows a little dash. They better try to get the ball to him a little more often.
Well, I think Josh Huff and DeAnthony Thomas are going to have to make a difference in the pass game for Darren Thomas. His other receivers are struggling.
Quick strike out to the flanker. Gets a blocker, and that's Barner, who was out in that slot.
If you get your receivers who are really running backs, Kenyon Barner, and we talked about DeAnthony Thomas, Josh Huff, get them the ball quick in space, one-on-one. As good as LSU is, at least you have a fighting chance out there on the perimeter with the speed of those 3.
Chain gang has to keep up with this blur offense, and now Thomas looks over to the sideline, and the signal comes to see what they want to do.
Brent, Matthews showed blitz. I don't know. He looks like he's going to sit back now.
Michael. Tough yard.
One thing that John Chavis will ask Matthew and the rest of that secondary is when Darren Thomas gets ready to snap the ball, show him some different looks. And so when he looks over to Chip Kelly and they start to adjust the play, maybe they're thinking it's something else. So the defense can play a little bit of a cat and mouse game with Oregon as well.
Josh Huff is off to the right. Brooks backs off him. Eric Reed is the safety, motioning to Brooks that he's got help if they come in that way. But they go back to the inside, and that's short of a 1st down. Paulson, the tight end, one of the best tight ends in the Pac-12.
As much as we talk about all this speed for Oregon, I think the security blanket for Darren Thomas is David Paulson. Last year he stepped in, did a good job. Dennis Dick, or you see the quarterback trusts him, and that's big.
And they pound straight ahead with Barner for the first down. They move the chains. They're into LSU territory. And again, we've got an injured player. Logan goes down. Now the Duck fans automatically think that that someone's faking an injury. Les Miles told us straight up that he's never faked an injury in his life.
Well, it's interesting that two guys go down on the same play. Brockers and Logan both down.
Both down. So we'll step away for a moment. Both Logan on the left and Brockers on the right receive medical attention on the sideline. Now for tonight's Aflac trivia question. Herbie, since 1936, only 4 schools have won the national championship after losing the first game of the season. Which is the last school to do that? And that talks about the importance of our game here tonight. The season opener between the numbers 3 and 4 teams. And now from that gun, and handoff by the substitutes who came in for Logan and Brockers, and there was absolutely nothing doing it there.
One quick question. Is it in the BCS era?
No, it is not. It's not in the BCS era. Second and long. Thomas got to go deep, and his receiver slipped. So it'll be 3rd down and long as a result of that play.
He wanted Barner on the wheel route, and Barner goes out man-to-man. He's going up against a really good guy. And not only did he slip, it's just a little bit of confusion there between Darren Thomas and Barner, who looked like he wanted to stop and break his route off against Matthew.
3rd and 11. Fires for the first down at the 35-yard line. He puts it in Huff's hands for the first down. What a big strike that is.
And that's a big-time play by Josh Huff. He's a high school running back, also from the state of Texas in Houston. And did you see how Darren Thomas put the ball back where there was space in the zone? He threw it back, and really a nice job by Josh Huff using his hands that time to secure the football.
14 yards on that 3rd and 11. Firing again on first down, and a diving reception at the 31, so they pick up a handful of yards, and that's Thomas's 3rd catch of the night, the freshman from Crenshaw High School.
It's interesting, Brent, the big adjustment that they have made here in the second corners. DeAnthony Thomas is a running back, and he's lined up in a slot to the left. Kenyon Barner's a running back. He's a slot to the right.
Trying to use both of them. Good protection. Another first down to the 22, and that's that freshman. Folks, remember number 6. He was great in scrimmages this fall. The coaching staff knew what they had.
And that's a great in-game adjustment by Chip Kelly in this offense. The 2-A and the rest of the receivers are not matching up to the athletic ability of LSU. Put Barner and Thomas out there and try to get the passing game going. The reason that's important, Brent, is then you can get back to your bread and butter of Darren Thomas and LaMichael James running the football.
And Grassu is holding up in his first start as a center. He identifies the Mike linebacker. Quick strike to the outside. 2-A across the 20 and still going. And he is at the 15-yard line. That's a huge first down play.
And again, getting the ball out. This time it's 2-A. Hoffman does a good job of picking up a block, sustaining his block. And what about the effort? But a long, lanky 2-A. LSU defenders all over the place, and he's able to hold on to the football.
Up-tempo when they get down into that red zone. Throwing 2-A short of the end zone. There is a penalty flag. There is a penalty flag on this throw. 2-A down in a heap at about the 4-yard line.
Personal foul, leg whip on the offense, number 70. 15-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Another LSU defender going down.
And that personal foul's on Gopassion right there. Is this a leg whip here, Herbie? Is that what he described down there? As we have Edwards down and still another LSU player down.
Looks like LeVar Edwards, who is down for LSU. Incidentally, Brockers, who was down earlier, is back in the game for LSU. Now the defensive end Edwards is down. But it's really fun to watch John Chavis, LSU's defensive mind, and Chip Kelly going back and forth, the adjustments that are being made. And right now, Chip Kelly seems to have the upper hand.
One of the things we want to point out here is that the distraction that beset LSU, when I see players dropping a little bit, you wonder about the conditioning. You wonder how much they were distracted by these things that went on in Baton Rouge. That unspecified number of players involved in that fight outside the bar. The police then interviewed 4 players, including their starting quarterback. Wide receiver Russell Shepard was suspended, but that did not involve the brawl outside the bar. And then Jordan Jefferson and backup linebacker Josh Johns were arrested and suspended. I'm always suspicious of what happens with a coaching staff and a group of players when things like this happen. How much they're able to work, how much they're able to concentrate at the very least. Jordan Jefferson, of course, suspended indefinitely. That's why we have Jarrett Lee. And here we have another player down.
Looks like Edwards will get up. And, you know, with Oregon, Brent, trying to take advantage of this drive and the momentum that's been created, another self-inflicted wound with that leg whip, and it puts them way back to the 30-yard line. I mean, they were trying to get the ball inside the 5 on that play, and now they're back to a 2nd down and long at the 30-yard line.
Herbie, that's 56 yards of penalties against Oregon.
Yeah, absolutely. And big ones. Crucial moments in the game.
So they're back to their 13th play. And suddenly, just as you pointed out, they got 2nd and 17.
Yeah, and they don't have an offensive play longer than 14 yards tonight. So see if they can make the adjustment here on 2nd and long.
Thomas with the play call. Plenty of time. The play clock. Going to run the draw play. And this is LaMichael James. And he crosses the 20, and now it becomes manageable on 3rd down. What a beautiful run on 2nd down.
See, Brent, all those quick throws to the outside, it's catching the attention of the outside linebackers in the secondary, and that's when you can get back to getting the ball run vertically by LaMichael James. It's a delicate balance between on the perimeter quickly and then upfield also quickly with LaMichael James.
Let's see who Thomas looks for here. Under fire. And DeAnthony Thomas, the red-hot freshman.
This kid has 5 catches, known as a running back, but they moved him out the receiver tonight along with Barner. And right now he is winning the one-on-one matchups and getting separation to give Darren Thomas a chance to make throws.
So they pick it up, but it was that 2nd down that gave him a chance.
Look at LSU's defense. Some fatigue, hands on hips. That's what Oregon wants. They want to wear them down. See Baker.
Comes a blitz. Matthew was trying to come, and he says an offensive lineman moved. False start.
It's the little things with Tyrann Mathieu that makes him who he is. I mean, that will never show up in the stats. It's never going to show up. But just by him starting to accelerate and attack the line of scrimmage, the linemen, they flinch, they move because they're trying to time up the potential blitz. But that's Mathieu. That sums him up. This guy makes so many plays for this LSU football team.
And their other freshman, that right guard, Go Passion, has picked up a couple of costly penalties here on this drive, and it makes it 1st and 15. Darren Thomas on the move to the left. It's complete to the 15-yard line. So that doesn't gain too much for him. 2-A, the receiver. Now here's your offensive line, and you can see those 2 first starts there. Now Grasu, he's held up so far very well.
He sure
but
has.
Gold Passion in this drive's had a couple of costly penalties.
This is 16th play of this drive for Oregon.
Second down, end zone too high, incomplete. Double coverage down there in that corner of the end zone. You can see the 2 defenders there with DeAnthony Thomas. They were looking for the freshman this time.
Well, he's got some energy. I love watching DeAnthony Thomas. True freshman, living out a dream, finally getting a chance to play college football. And look who he's going up against in his first game, LSU. And he's not stepping back one iota. He's ready to play ball tonight.
3rd down and 12. Got to get to the 3-yard line. if you want to get a fresh set of downs. Field goal would tie the score. Timeout. Timeout is called. The time running down on this third down play. Well, we talked about Aflac, Herbie, and it is before the BCS era. Can you recall?
How about Notre Dame?
No, it's an interesting guess. Okay, 4 schools have won the national championship after losing the first game. The last school to do it back in 1983, a dramatic bowl game. It was Miami. Do you remember Tom Osborne that night in Nebraska coming back down? Let's flash back. Some of you folks remember this.
Gosh,
courageous Tom Osborne. A tie would have probably given him the national championship, but he went for the 2 in the win,
Jeff
not
Smith?
to get it.
Yeah, Jeff Smith, I think it was. A drop set.
And as a result, Miami wins the national championship. I believe they lost to Florida, as I recall. That was their first game. And Schnellenberger won his national championship with the Hurricanes that night. All right, here we go. 3rd down and 12 for the Ducks. They're down by 3. There's movement in that line again.
You know, on those 3rd downs, in this environment where the crowd becomes a factor with communication up front, you're almost better off going with a quicker snap, because those offensive linemen start to sit there and they get anxious. I mean, they're looking across the line of scrimmage at this LSU defensive line. They're trying to figure out who's coming, who's dropping, and they start to get anxious on that snap count waiting that long.
Would now be about a 37-yard field goal if they don't gain anything here for Beard for the tie. 3rd and long. Thomas fires middle, and it is penalty flag. There's a penalty flag thrown, and if that's a penalty, that's going to be a first down.
Brent, I think he led with his crown of his helmet. The safety, Craig Loston, looked like he led with the crown of his helmet to try to disengage the receiver.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness.
That's a first down. They did not have the first down.
Distance to the ball. Automatic first down.
Oh, that's a huge personal foul.
Watch him lower his helmet. This is something you just cannot do. You see it in the NFL and in college football. When you lower your headgear to lower the boom, they're going to call it every time.
So now, after the reception, keep that in mind. Then it's penalized across the 5-yard line. Tuane made a great grab.
Absolutely. Under
enormous pressure. And here we go for the Ducks, trying to grab the lead. On 1st and goal from the 4-yard line. Michael James is next to Thomas.
Remember, Thomas likes to run the football here himself as well.
Michael James picks his way, but not much doing against the middle of that Tiger defense. Downs, Brockers back on the field. Downs next to him, and now it'll be 2nd down and goal. Tough going against
sledding
this
in there, boys.
Hello.
When I talked about Thomas, when he can run the football, a lot of times he has most of his touchdowns. They get inside the 5-yard line. They pay so much attention to the backfield, and LaMichael James, sometimes it can open up seams.
LaMichael, touchdown, Oregon leads. When you talk about Heisman Trophy candidates, folks, do not forget LaMichael James.
The check to the left. They've got a bubble off to the left, and a good job that time by the line picking up the stunt. And there's a nice big void on that left side where they were able to make the check. York came around and made a good block. And LaMichael James basically just walks into the end zone.
So here is Rob Beard on for the extra point. Jackson Rice is the holder. And he adds it. So this is a drive, folks, that consumed 19 plays, went 79 yards, 7 minutes and 41 seconds, and LaMichael James takes it in for 6. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires for superior performance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Right now, Oregon is coming off its best drive of the night. James with his 36th rushing touchdown in 26 career games. Now, LSU's turn. See what they can do. Claiborne and Brooks back deep. This is Claiborne in the end zone. He's going to bring this one out. 15, 20. The gamble paid off and let us go down below to Aaron Andrews. Aaron?
Well, Brent, when LSU's defense returned to the bench, D-line coach Rick Haley gave them a piece of their mind, telling them that was a cheap play right there. That was a cheap score by LaMichael James. That's what's happened when you play undisciplined. Brent, he unloaded on this D-line, and I have to tell you, he looks as exhausted as these defenders right here.
I think after that 19-play drive, that entire defense was not only physically fatigued, but also mentally fatigued.
Spencer Ware back in as the running back. Battles for a couple of tough yards here on first down. But the Tigers are going to have to get to an early passing situation.
They have 11 yards rushing. Oregon with his new defensive front and a lot of new linebackers, 11 yards rushing.
Pounding and running. That time they break it for a first down. That's the best run of the night.
Sure is.
Out to the 45-yard line, and it picks up a first down with Spencer Ware.
Spencer Ware follows the big fullback that time, James Stampley, and offensive line gets a push.
Now it's LSU trying to pick the tempo up offensively. Close to midfield on that first down, and they're working behind the middle. That Lonergan, T-Bob Hebert, and Will Blackwell in the middle of that offensive line. T-Bob Hebert, and of course, that's the son of Bobby Hebert. Many of you remember, a longtime quarterback in the National Football League. Randall has not been a target tonight. He is down to the near side. Michael Ford is the running back. They're going to stick right on the ground. And why not? Busting across the 40-yard line, and now that offensive line is starting to exert itself here, Irving.
And they do a good job. Tight end that time, picks up a block. Outstanding vision by Michael Ford, finds that cutback, is able to get up inside that crease very quickly.
They're on first down. They throw the lob to the running back, and one of the receivers, let me check myself on that. That was Michael Ford as he had slipped out.
Ford trying to give Spencer Ware a little bit of a break here because of his speed. He has probably the most acceleration in that LSU backfield.
Lee steps away from trouble, going to be sacked. Back at the 44-yard line, Jarrett Lee is taken down by Cadu, Josh Cadu.
And that's where the lack of experience comes in to really hurt Jarrett Lee. See, he's got to be able to just throw that football away and avoid the loss, avoid taking the big sack and killing the momentum of this drive. And once again, it puts this LSU offense into a 3rd and long situation and allows Nick Aliotti either to get creative and bring pressure or rush 3 and drop 8. They're 1 of 6 tonight on 3rd down.
Down to 3 seconds. Got it off, fires middle, and grabbed at the 22-yard line. Fine catch by D'Angelo Peterson, his first of the night, and what a grab.
And he finds a one-on-one matchup that he can win, and he gave Peterson just enough time. Peterson does a good job of securing the football. You know, he's 6'4", about 235 pounds as a tight end. Former wide receiver, and he's one-on-one against Eddie Pleasant at about 5'11", and that time Lee has enough time to find the matchup that he wanted to exploit.
18 yards on that passing play. Ware is back. Goes for the edge on the left side. That's a good gain on first down into the red zone.
Now they're outflanking the Oregon defensive edge. There's a defensive end and Deion Jordan, or sometimes an outside linebacker like Michael Clay or Josh Cadu. They are motioning a tight end to try to get to the outside And by doing that, it's allowing the back to make a decision and either bounce it to the outside or cut it back underneath on the zone play.
Toss play to Ford, and he is eaten up. So here comes a huge third down with 1.5 minutes to go. LSU has all 3 of its timeouts. And let's check in quickly with Robert Flores.
All right, Brent. Boise State and Georgia from the Georgia Dome, and the Broncos go on top. Kellen Moore to Kyle Efoy, who uses the truck stick to get into the end zone. Georgia led 7-0, but now they trail late in the second quarter. Meantime, South Carolina spotted East Carolina's 17-0 lead, but Steven Garcia has led the Gamecocks back. They're up 4 in the third quarter. Brent.
Garcia did not start. Is that what I remember on the game day hearing?
Yeah, interesting. He has 2 rushing touchdowns. I don't know if there are a couple quarterback sneaks, but South Carolina on the ropes here on week 1. They got a big game next week with Georgia. Both those teams next week.
1:34 to go. LSU coming up with that big 3rd and 7 down right here. Give Aliotti time to get the defense ready. Jarrett Lee. Incomplete. Is there a penalty? Yes, there is.
Oh, yeah.
And that's an automatic first down.
First time he's looked up Ruben Randall, and Eddie Pleasant was all over him. Eddie Pleasant gave up that first down, the previous third down, to Peterson, and that time he said, I'm not going to let anybody catch the ball, and got in there way too early.
First down.
That spot of the foul was right about the 14-yard line.
Jarrett Lee feeling that pressure, but sat in there, showed some toughness, and delivered the football. But
Cadu getting some medical attention, taping up that ankle. Meanwhile, LSU with a golden opportunity here, but only 1.5 minutes left in the first half. Ware to the 10 and across, and it will be second down. Les wants to keep the clock moving.
Time obviously not really a big factor here yet with the 3 timeouts, even though we're closing in on a minute.
LSU's got 3 timeouts left. There's no need taking them on into the to the locker room. Fumble. Battle for the loose ball. That was an exchange problem, I believe, as Jarrett was pulling away from Lonergan. Did it hit him?
I think it hit one of his linemen who were trying to pull around. I think maybe Hebert bumped the football as he was coming around to be able to help out with a block off to the right. That ball seemed to sit there forever until Ware finally jumped on it.
Well, coming up on the Northwestern Mutual halftime report, John and Jesse will have all the day's big highlights. So that's coming your way at halftime as college football is off and rolling. And Herbie, Lonergan appeared to be in some pain down there. And I don't know if they'll switch T-Bob Hebert over to center. He has played some if they have to take Lonergan out here.
Well, they've already lost Josh Dorosic, who's really the leader of this defense. He's out with a knee, and Lonergan is kind of taking that role of being the guy up front. He is clearly in a lot of pain, but I don't think he wants to come out right now. He wants to finish his drive off, and they can check him out at halftime.
Coming back on the field for this 3rd and 6.
See if the Ducks try to dial up some pressure here. They've gotten close to Lee on the last 2 third downs.
Ware looks like he wants to jitterbug off to the left and see if he can get something on an edge. Let's see what they do here from the gun. Gonna throw for it. Got one-on-one. Touchdown, Randall. First catch of the night, and it's for the go-ahead touchdown. They finally found the redshirt freshman corner.
Yes, they did, and we just said, are they going to dial up some pressure? And they did. And when you do, you're one-on-one. LSU thought when they got into the red zone that Randall, with his size at 6'4", could go after Mitchell at about 5'11". They hit the tight end earlier, Peterson, on this drive, and this time for the touchdown, they find Ruben Randall, the junior.
Remember, they did not convert their last extra point. But Alleman's good on this one. So LSU takes a 3-point lead, 16-13 with 44 seconds to go. And we've been saying it throughout much of the evening that LSU had to dial up the forward pass. In fact, you said they're not going to win this game unless they complete some passes, and here they go ahead on a touchdown pass.
Yeah, but I also want to give credit to LSU and their coaching staff and the patience that they've shown, because really that entire drive was set up by them finally taking control of the line of scrimmage. And I just said before this drive started, what was it, 11 or 8, 9, 10, 11 yards that they had rushing coming into this drive, but they didn't get away from their game plan. They continued to say, hey, we know we eventually can take control of things, and that particular drive they were able to do it. And also Jarrett Lee, but he talked about how is he going to perform in this game, converts a big third down, picks up the pass interference, and then of course throws the touchdown on the fade to Ruben Randall. So an outstanding drive in kind of the typical LSU fashion.
And we have gone back and forth here in the first half. A very entertaining college football showdown because the teams are ranked number 3 and number 4. We showed you in the Aflac trivia. You know, it used to be a bit of a cliche that you can lose early and still get back to the championship. Don't lose late. That has not been the case in the BCS era, and hasn't been the case since the early 80s. You do not want to lose your opener. High kickoff, going to be fielded short at the 15-yard line by Barner. 40 seconds remaining here, and of course only 2 races left until the chase. Tony Stewart and Dale Earnhardt Jr. got to pick it up a little bit. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Atlanta, presented by Pennzoil. Coverage begins on ESPN Sunday, 6:30 Eastern. Atlanta is always a great stop. We were down there the last couple of years for a football game and had a chance to go out to the track, and we're coming right down to crunch time with the NASCAR fellas. First down and 10, final 40 seconds, and Chip Kelly not going to get crazy here.
Real quick, let's just show Kiki Mingo. How many defensive ends do you know in college football that run a 4-5? A 4-5. Brent says, they were talking to us yesterday at the walkthrough, Kiki Mingo could play safety for LSU. They got him lined up at defensive end.
Isn't that something?
I mean, he just walked LaMichael James down for a short loss. I just want to see him run it. Can we see him run again on that last play, just showing in full speed? That was beautiful. My gosh. Watch him coming from the backside. Watch it. He gets into full stride. That's LaMichael James he's chasing down. They got some guys up front that can go. He is 6'5", about 240 pounds. And John Chavis really told us that last year was the first year that he felt as a coordinator in Baton Rouge he finally had some defensive ends, SEC defensive ends, and he's got them back this year.
Michael picks his way. And let me check that. That was Barner who had replaced LaMichael after that run. So Kenyon Barner, the ball carrier that time. And the final seconds ticking away here. A lot of LSU fans here tonight, and they are on the feet. As now it is James receiving some attention on the sideline. Aaron Thomas bringing the troops off the field, and let's go down below to Aaron Andrews.
We'll start with that 19-play scoring drive. What finally went right?
And we stopped shooting ourselves in the foot. You know, we've got penalties on our side of the ball and turned the ball over a couple of times, and we got too many drops. But, you know, we're starting to get into a rhythm, so we'll see.
What's the biggest thing you stress here with the Tigers up by 3?
It's a great game, and it's only a 3-point game, so we got to come out and we just got to try to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. Got to stay away from the penalties, got to stay away from the drops, got to stay away from that turnovers.
Thanks for your time.
Okay.
All right, Brian.
It is indeed a good game. So let's send it to the studio. Big John Saunders.
This is Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week.
But I gotta live.
back to Cowboys Classic, presented by Southwest Airlines as part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week. Well, we take a look at tonight's Southwest Airlines playbook. The lead changed hands 4 times in this game, and we had 3 touchdowns overall, Kirk.
It's been interesting to watch this game unfold, and LSU with the crowd and the momentum early in this game took advantage of some mistakes by Oregon. We saw Tyrann Mathieu make a play, and all of a sudden Oregon came back, and it looked like they were able to settle in offensively after making some adjustments. LaMichael James did what he had to do, but right before the half, Ruben Randall, his first catch of the night, goes up and over the redshirt freshman Terrence Mitchell, and LSU has that 3-point lead. But it's a great second half about to start.
Exactly, and Oregon, of course, has to control the mistakes, the penalties, drop passes, missed blocks, false starts, things like that. They've got to pick that up against this team.
And remember last year, we called a bunch of Oregon games. They were stronger always in the second half because of their in-game adjustments by Chip Kelly on really both sides of the ball. And they have not had a play over 14 yards. And this is an offense known for big playability, but LSU has been able to contain them. And the other thing is, LSU's last drive, about 75 yards, 8 running plays. They found something that they liked. I want to see if they're able to go back to that and have some success, because they haven't been able to run the ball outside of that drive.
And that redshirt freshman for Oregon in that secondary, replacing Cliff Harris, he better get ready.
He better get ready. They found him last drive, the touchdown by Randall. Also, we noticed that Michael James kind of limping off. We're going to take a close look at that to see. I think Mingo, when he chased him down in the second to last play in the first half, may have dinged LaMichael James. We'll see how much he's going to be able to be involved for the Ducks in the second half.
So LSU will handle the ball. Remember, they won the coin flip and they deferred, and they will have a first down around the 20-yard line with Claiborne on the return as we check in with Aaron Andrews.
Guys, just to update you on LaMichael James, he actually didn't run out with the team out of the tunnel coming out from halftime, and I asked the Oregon athletic training staff what was going on with that leg. They say it's just cramps. He's been stretching out over here on the sidelines. You see him with the big smile on his face. They actually said a couple of these guys are cramping up. So drinking up the Gatorade down here, we'll see how they hold up in the second half.
So here we are. Jarrett Lee, the senior quarterback from Brenham, Texas, a couple hundred miles from Arlington, set to take the first snap. Play fake, throw, there's the first down pass for another first down.
Great call.
Out to the 32-yard line, they open up, and there's Peterson's second grab of the game.
Great call on 1st and 10. You're, of course, after the last drive expecting, oh, they're going to run the football. They've been running all night. Little hot pass there, and they catch the linebackers out of position coming in to stop Ware. And Peterson showing some athletic ability there with a nice grab.
Now Lee moves up under center. And then they come back with Ware, the running back. See if they can wear down this front 7 of the Ducks. Turner making the stop for Oregon, but it's a good gain on first down. A fair advantage of the second down.
For LSU, they're going hurry up, but a pop pass, a little throw on 1st and 10 does wonders to get back to running the football.
They'll come right back with a running play. As we take a look at the Pacific Life game summary, and we compare Jarrett Lee here of LSU with Darren Thomas of Oregon, and you can see that Thomas is thrown for 121 yards, but he has the lone interception.
It stands out to me, 28 pass attempts, and a lot of that has to do with the respect that Oregon has for LSU and the way they're able to negate the running game, so they've had to make the adjustment, of course, and throw the football to try to get back to being able to eventually run the ball with James.
Ford is on the field for this 3rd and short. Gets the carry, and it's a first down as he powers across. This was set up by a strong first down. Even though they didn't get anything on second, you can come back and you can manage a 3rd and 2.
Great to see Lonergan out there for LSU. Remember on that drive, that scoring drive, he had some injuries. It looks like some kind of injury he was trying to deal with. He kind of fought through that, and that time he picked up the key block there, and you saw the cut by Ford right behind the block by Lonergan to spring loose Ford for that first down.
Randall is off to Lee's left. Press coverage by the Ducks on that side. Lee looks at him, going to go deep now. Got one-on-one, and it is incomplete. He overthrew Randall.
Love the call. Both 1st and 10s that they've had to start this second half. A big adjustment that LSU must be thinking about. Coach Studd, the offensive coordinator, is let's get, even if we're not going to hit them, let's throw the ball a little bit on 1st and 10 and let those linebackers and let those safeties know that we're not afraid to take some chances with Jarrett Lee and these receivers. Even if you miss it, it makes them freeze and hesitate just for a second, and then of course they can still run the football.
That's the hand of Spencer Ware, number 11, receiving a little attention. He's off the field right now on the 2nd down and 10. They want to set a screen, sort of a naked play. They let everybody come in and tried to throw it to Ford out here on the flat, and now it is suddenly 3rd and 10.
That's the risk that you take, of course, when you take the chance on 1st and 10. If you miss it, they're trying to set up that screen, but the penetration just too quick by the Oregon defense. Cannot say enough about the Oregon front. They're breaking in 3 new starters. They're breaking in 2 new linebackers. They've held up so far. They're down 16-13. They're playing one of the most powerful teams in the SEC, and they're holding up very, very well.
Trips to the right. He rolls the pocket in that direction, comes in underneath again to Peterson. But that is well short of the 1st down.
Good speed that time. LSU trying to move that launch point in case Oregon brought pressure. They rolled Lee away from the pressure. But when you roll out, you have half the field to work with, and the Ducks do a good job of keeping the play in front of them and being able to make that tackle to force this punt here on 4th down.
So Brad Wing into punt again. Young man from Melbourne, Australia. They say he can punt with either his right or his left. We have seen nothing but the right foot here tonight. Barner, who turned it over on one of his great punts, is back deep. There's the left. Runs up, got it on the 15-yard line, and out of bounds, but he did get across the 20-yard line. So when we come back, it'll be the Ducks' first possession here of the 2nd half. Michael James will open up the 2nd half. Remember, he was a little bit shaken up at the end of the 1st half. He's in there. There's the mesh point. He's got the first carry. And Logan, who's back on the field, helped stuff that play down there. And Brockers, his buddy, slowed it down. Now we will see if Oregon can get to the up tempo. But now LaMichael's limping back off. So he apparently is injured here.
Yeah, whether it's cramps or an injury, it happened late in the 1st half. Now you have an offensive lineman, Darian Weems, down as well. It's a young offensive line, and one of their more experienced guys, Weems, at least had some experience. Now he goes out.
And Clanton will replace him. So 3 very green offensive linemen. Barner will be the running back, and this is going to be 3rd and long coming up in that front with Montgomery jumping all over them. Clanton had his hands full with Montgomery.
Yeah, Clanton, welcome in. Welcome in at left tackle. This game's moving fast. The play is developing too slow. This is the end of the 1st half. They might be talking about a cramp, but Mingo, when he chased him from behind, looked like he might have stepped on the back of the leg of LaMichael James.
Danger here. LSU will try to team up. He gets it off incomplete. It is 3 and out. And that defensive front of LSU dominated that series of downs.
Boy, and Hoffman that time just could not get away from press coverage. Darren Thomas is sitting there. He's got enough time. He's waiting and waiting. And the receiver, Justin Hoffman, look at him. Look at him. You got to get off of him to give Thomas a chance to be able to execute the passing game.
Claiborne will be back deep, and LSU could wind up. Let me check that. I think that's Matthew back deep. It is Matthew. He'll field this punt at the 36 and down around the 34. Fearless. Didn't go for the fair catch in that situation. Want to see what he can do, and we'll come back to Cowboys Stadium in a moment.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online, only at southwest.com. Ford, drive one. And Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed.
A 3-point game, and Barner down there being worked on.
Barner, and you got LaMichael James also getting worked on. Even though we're indoors and they've got the roof closed, cramps are an issue.
A short handoff to Hilliard, who lined up the freshman as the fullback, and Oregon jumped that play. They were ready for that. Didn't fool anybody, so it'll be second down. Turner, red and purple, made the stop for Aliotti. Low-scoring opener between the teams ranked number 3, Oregon, and number 4, LSU. 16-13. The lead has changed hands 4 times here in the first half. And now Jarrett Lee, the senior quarterback, will see what he can do with the Tigers of the SEC. On the toss play to Ware, and he is eaten up. Puts him in 3rd and long, and Gilden, who's played very well as a defensive back here tonight.
And Brent, this is a check with me at the line of scrimmage, and Jarrett Lee's got to see this. Eddie Pleasant walks up. That's a safety. You've got 8 men up in the line of scrimmage. He actually checks to this play, and then you got a corner coming down as well. You're dealing with 9, 10 men at the line of scrimmage. He's got to see that and check out of that and get to a quick game or something to throw the ball to the outside.
Beckham, the freshman, is split out to the left-hand side in this obvious passing situation for LSU. Lee is only 9 of 19 for 69 yards. 20th pass of the game, incomplete. Dropped as he came across midfield that time. Patterson was there on coverage for the Ducks.
Really good effort that time. Avery Patterson was trailing Boone. Ball underthrown just a bit. He needed to put a little bit more loft on that ball to try to get it into Boone. But good coverage that time by Avery Patterson. And LSU, we talked about maybe they found something at the end of the first half, but these first 2 drives, they're out of there, and Oregon gets the football back.
So now, cornerback deep. Kenyon awaits the punt. What a beautiful punt. Wow, sends it back inside the 10. Shakes a tackle at the 5, but he's down as the second man gets to him. They have found a weapon with this punter. Played Australian rules football out of Melbourne, and he buries the Ducks. Auburn won it last year. Who will win it this year? The most sought-after trophy in college sports, the Coach's Trophy, presented by Dr. Pepper, and DeAnthony Thomas checks into the game with Barner and James on that sideline. Herbie, they're going to go with the freshman here.
With the backs cramping with James and Barner. It's interesting. Let's see how he can do. He's been playing receiver. Now he's lined up in the backfield.
Gets his first carry from scrimmage and moved the pile pretty well out to the 11-yard line.
He's 165 pounds. A true freshman out of Los Angeles. Many people thought he would go to USC. We've got another man down. You know, we're inside. You're thinking that the air conditioning's on. Air conditioning could be on to be comfortable conditions in here, but we've seen a lot of players here going down on both sides of the football.
Is this Adams?
That looks like Adams again. He was down earlier.
Let us take a break and go to the studio and Robert Flores for an update. Robert, what do you got for us?
All right, Brett, Boise State leading Georgia 21-7. They go 11 plays, 76 yards. Doug Martin goes in from 7 yards. Georgia quarterback Aaron Murray thus far just 90 yards through the air as Boise State leads 21-7. And South Carolina, after trailing 17-0 to East Carolina, they now lead 56-31. Stephen Garcia didn't get the start, but he certainly led the comeback.
Robert, thank you. You know, Herbie, let me tell you something. Boise gets out of Atlanta with a win tonight.
They're going to be favored.
They're going to take dead aim,
no question,
at playing in New Orleans for the BCS championship. I'm telling you, they really become a BCS buster.
I mean, there's nobody. Well, somebody can beat them potentially, like Nevada did last year, but they're going to be favored in every game that they play the rest of the way.
2nd and 5, and there's that inside handoff, short of the first down. And Edwards makes the stop for the Tigers.
Let's go back to Les Miles' formula to victory. It's field position, it's defense, it's special teams. This is a big 3rd down for Oregon for field position.
Fumble, LSU football. Picked off by Eric Reed in the air. And Reed's at the 21. And LSU is in business.
And that is the risk that you take when you play a freshman and you're forced to play a freshman. in a football game. Sam Montgomery on the backside actually got his hand on the football, and DeAnthony Thomas needs to keep his head up because if James and Barner can't go, Chip Kelly's got to get him back up. Watch 99 off to the left. He gets a hand in there on the football, and Reed showing some pretty good athletic ability, catches it in midair and makes the return. But LSU, this is the way they work. They force you into deep territory, they get a short field for their offense, and they either get a field goal here or they come up with a touchdown. But this is how Les Miles operates.
Learning how important it is to work in the weight room. First down and 10, and the Tigers are in business. Here is Ware, slips a tackle, spins forward on first down, and they're across the 20 into that red zone area right now. As a youngster, he'll learn from this.
Absolutely. You know, Brent, Spencer Ware is a sophomore. You can remember him. Played high school football up in Cincinnati, Ohio, at Cincinnati Princeton, and was a quarterback, and he's turned into a pretty powerful running back down in Baton Rouge.
Toss play through the middle. First and goal for LSU. Here's the young man who rushed for better than 100 yards in the Cotton Bowl in this building last January against Texas A&M. And they're coming right back with him.
LSU trying to get their own tempo going, and that offensive line sensing an opportunity here, starting to get a good push, and Will Blackwell, right guard in the previous play, pulling around and just ripping through the Oregon defensive line. It's a pivotal point in the game with the Tigers up by 3 here midway through the third quarter.
Second and goal from that power I formation for Lee. Ware again testing the middle. That's 3 consecutive plays. Not a whole lot of imagination there, and the Ducks jumped it. And that makes it third and goal. Herbie, I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't get outside, try to get to the edge, try to do something out there a little bit.
Especially on early downs, but they've had some success pushing. Now let's remember, Oregon's committing 10 guys inside that box. You're leaving Ruben Randall isolated at the bottom of the screen, one-on-one against an Oregon corner.
Touchdown! They stay with the run, and Michael Ford, the sophomore, busts across. So LSU knew what they were doing. They figure they've got an advantage with that offensive line, and they kept pounding, and they came away with 6.
That is old school football.
That's Michigan.
That is Michigan. James Stampley, the fullback.
That's Bo Schembechler.
That is.
Where did he learn that?
Let's flip it to Leroy Horde and follow him in there. Drew Alama
on for the extra point. Tacks it on, and it's a 10-point LSU advantage. Biggest lead of the game, Herbie.
Big third down and goal, and you're thinking maybe they try to go back to Ruben Randall outside. Look at the hole right away open up. Blackwell does a good job of getting a push to the outside, gets Taylor Hart outside, and Stampley, that's a guy you want to follow. Stampley's about 245 pounds. And the combination right now of Spencer Ware and Michael Ford, very different in what they offer to that backfield, but both showing some pretty good vision. And that time Ford cut it back and into the end zone. And now the Ducks are really reeling here, down 10.
And let's check you down below with Aaron.
Hey, and you guys mentioned it, DeAnthony Thomas really going to have to shake off that turnover there, because as of now, Kenyon Barner has left the field. He did tell a trainer he had cramps, and then they started working on his right ankle. They tried to tape it up, and then they had him leave the field, guys.
You wonder, Brent, if they can get an IV in him, anything, if it is cramping, to try to help him and LaMichael James both.
Herbie, I want to give tribute to the right side of that offensive line for LSU. Will Blackwell out of Monroe, Louisiana. Alex Hurst out of Bartlett, Tennessee. I mean, they blew a gaping hole on the right side down there. And, of course, Lonergan, courageous, staying in there and getting it done. DeAnthony Thomas and Mitchell are back deep, and this one with Thomas trying to get him some space, and he fumbles it again. LSU jumps on it.
It's a sophomore, Craig Lawston, who got in there and punched that ball. And you know, when you're in high school and you're as fast as D'Anthony Thomas, you can run by people all day. You get up to college football, and obviously you have to have the fundamentals of holding on to the football, because these LSU defenders.
LSU football.
Wow. They are told to attack the football. Second straight time the freshman puts the ball on the ground. Not having Barner back there and not having LaMichael James really starting to catch up to Oregon. Watch 6 come in from behind right there and knock the ball loose.
The defensive front for Oregon better get ready. LSU's got a 10-point lead, and this is a perfect setup to go working on the clock from the power I and see if your offensive line can wear them down. Here they come. The first running play, and it'll be where into the heart of that defense. This is where Oregon misses the fellas who were up front last year. Casey Matthews, I'll never forget that turnover he forced in the national championship game, and they rallied. But there are other fellas who are gone from a year ago. Rose, Bear, Paysinger. Those guys are really missed here tonight. You can say all you want about having a lot of guys who played games, we're going to be okay, but it ain't the same. And now it is 2nd down and 7. On a play action, got it wide open. Peterson to the 7-yard line, and it is 1st down and goal. Beautiful call, dialed up by LSU. They caught that front pressing.
That is a great call by Coach Studd. On 1st and 10, Peterson's right here. Good job. He takes his time. He's patient. And how about the throw by Jarrett Lee? Right over the shoulder to Peterson. They get Pleasant out of position, and he almost took it into the end zone.
Herbie, that was the longest play of the game, 29 yards. 1st down and goal, where, again, nothing much doing here.
They have mixed up the play calling, and they've been able to, you know, they're sticking to their guns with their, if you want to call it stubbornness or whatever you might want to call it, but they have been able to control things these last couple drives, and I think they've mixed in enough of the play action. I think it's making it a little unsettling for the Oregon defense. There's some hesitation right now on that side of the football.
There's some Pac-12 coaches that are going to go to school on this tape. Sneaking right straight ahead is Jarrett Lee. In behind his big center Lonergan, who came out the other end.
And Jarrett Lee taking exception to maybe some activity there after the tackle at the bottom of the pile. He came up, had a few words for the Oregon defense.
3rd down and goal. Remember, they stuck with the run the last time. Let's see what they do here. They go back into the gun. Ware is still the back. 3 receivers to the right. Throw back to the left. 1-on-1. Incomplete. Randall, and there's the flag. 1st and goal. They went back to him against the redshirt freshman, Terrence Mitchell, and it'll be 1st and goal.
That's the matchup that they want. And even though they had 3 receivers off to the right, and Jarrett Lee actually gave a little look off to the right.
Pass interference on a defense number 27. Foul is in the end zone. Ball be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic 1st down.
But he knew all along, Brent, he wanted to come. Look at him, look off to the right, and then come right back to the left because of the size advantage and because of the poor redshirt freshman going up against an experienced SEC receiver in Randall. He didn't have any chance.
Power I, Ware dives over the top and just a little bit short of the end zone. Going to be marked inside the 1-yard line, and it'll be 2nd down and goal here in the 3rd quarter. Because of the problems off the field encountered by LSU, Oregon came into this game favored, which was a bit of a surprise when you consider how many folks are here from Baton Rouge. this is virtually a home game for LSU when you consider the crowd being involved in this game. Second down and goal. Toss play Ware. Got the lead block and the touchdown. There's your guy clearing the way again for you, Herbie.
Absolutely. And you talked about it a little earlier, Brent. Maybe go to the outside away from that Oregon defense where they're pinching down inside. And that time they did pop it outside. Stampley picked up a block, and guess who he took out? Terrence Mitchell, the redshirt freshman corner. And Spencer Ware squares those shoulders. He is a powerful runner at about 225 pounds.
Drew Alema tacks on another one.
Tight end outside, just trying to outflank them. They get a good block there. Good effort, actually, by the tight end, D'Angelo Peterson. He got a piece of two of the Oregon defenders. It's the beauty playing at Jerry's house, right?
Exactly. You watch that 60-yard big screen TV up there.
You can't miss it.
There it is, the big screen up above. Not a bad seat in the house, folks, because you got the big screen, and the LSU fans are loving it.
Yeah,
they're hooping and hollering. They're not even in Baton Rouge. They're lighting it up here tonight.
Absolutely.
So it's 30-13 with 3 minutes to go, and the LSU defense, he's mocking the duck, I think. He's down there doing the push-ups, and the offense tonight just hasn't got it done. Last year led the nation. 47 points a game. Tonight 13. 530 yards a game. Tonight 177. Rushing for 286. And tonight against another SEC defense, they've been held to 56 yards. Herbie, LSU put 2 touchdowns on the board in 3:20, and both came after those costly turnovers.
And the true freshman, D'Anthony Thomas, was out there. James is back out, this time with Josh Huff. They take the true freshman off the field.
Hang the kickoff high for Huff. And he is stoned with a penalty flag down. There's a little bit of a ruckus going on at around the 30-yard line, and the penalty flag came flying.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 4, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And let us go to Robert Flores in the studio. Robert.
All right, Brent, about 90 minutes from where you and Herbie are. Last night, Robert Griffin III helped Baylor beat a ranked team for just the 4th time since 1996. Griffin III highlighting the AT&T All-America Player of the Week update. 5 touchdowns. You can text VOTE to 55862 to take part and for a chance at a trip to the national championship.
All right, Robert, thank you very much. From the gun, incomplete, 2nd and 10 for the Oregon Ducks.
You know, that is 3 times that Oregon on kickoff returns has had penalties and put themselves in even a bigger hole to start their drives.
Thomas is deflected. 3rd down and 10, and they were all over him with that defense again. Mingo, your man, was coming off the edge.
Kiki Mingo, and if you can't tell at home, this stadium is rocking right now. You feel like you're in Baton Rouge, and you got a couple Oregon Ducks out there playing on one leg, including the left tackle right now, Weems. But a good job and a good effort in timing that by Benny Logan to knock that football down. How'd you like to call this play on 3rd and 10?
Mercy. Here they come. 99 in on him and incomplete. Sam Montgomery, Big Sam, at 99 was closing in.
Yeah, they actually had James coming out of the backfield, and he was left untouched, but it was just the pressure. Forced the quarterback to throw off his back foot. Thomas didn't have anything on the ball, even though James was streaking down the right sideline on a wheel route.
2:46 left here in the third quarter. LSU 30, Oregon 13. And backed up is Jackson Rice. Here's Matthew. Over on the other side of the 40. He's got midfield. Down to the 48-yard line. The crowd tonight, 87,711. Enjoying this early season showdown. And our aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires for superior performance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, in attendance tonight. But he appreciates a crowd of 87,000 coming here for a college game. 2.5 minutes. Ford on the right edge. Across the 25-yard line. Before Eddie Pleasant gets him out of bounds.
Watch Peterson again. They're just outflanking the Oregon defense, getting outside. I'll tell you, Peterson's had a football game tonight for LSU. He's made a lot of catches, and we always get excited about that. But his blocking has been exceptional to spring these backs loose when they've had room to run. Kind of lining him up as an H, and he's getting a good job of seal blocks of pushing the Oregon defense to the inside.
And they come back with Ford. Good balance. Michael Clay to stop, and now it is Ford being substituted for, and Spencer Ware comes back into the game. Ware has rushed for 73 yards here tonight. Ford for 57. LSU with 210 yards of offense now, taking control here in the third quarter of this football game, and Spencer Ware close to another first down on 2nd and 8. A very manageable third down coming up.
Just a really good cutback. He continues to show the vision. Both these backs, he and Michael Ford. And I think as this game goes on, remember, this is the first week of the season, but this offense, even with Jared Lee in there, all the questions, how would he do replacing Jordan Jefferson, they just seem to be getting more confident. Of course, the score could be a reflection of that, but there seems to be a little bit more continuity within the offense right now for the Tigers.
The tossed Ware, and he picks up the first down. Final minute of the third quarter as LSU takes control of this football game in this quarter.
One thing that LSU is trying to do to try to avoid the cramps, they're rotating a lot of bodies in there. J.C. Copeland and James Stampley, the fullbacks, are rotating along with Spencer Ware and Michael Ford. Try to keep them fresh.
The freshman, Beckham, off to the left side of this formation. He's number 33. Coming back with Ford, who is tripped up, keeping the clock moving. They'll bring down the final seconds here in the third quarter. So LSU dominates the third quarter, forces a couple of turnovers on back-to-back plays, scores touchdowns off both of them, and now the Tigers are dominating the Ducks. This presentation of Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Which new coach, Al Golden at Miami or Randy Edsall at Maryland, will earn a win in their ACC debut? Well, you can find out. College football prime time, part of Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week, ESPN Monday, 8 Eastern time. So now LSU in complete control here with 14:07 remaining. Oregon looking for a spurt, trying to get something to build on back here. And James went back to return this kickoff, and he brings it out to about the 33-yard line. And now it is time for tonight's big picture, brought to you by Sony. And if you will watch it, you know that Auburn needed a near miracle today, and they got it. A huge onside kick, and they survive against a game Utah State team. Then perhaps the most impressive performance this side of LSU, Alabama, and what a showdown that'll be later this year in Tuscaloosa. And here's Andrew Luck.
Yeah, Andrew Luck gets off to a good start. Kind of an efficient victory for Stanford.
Darren Thomas, and Matthew went for a pick six. It's second down, and he came within a whisker.
Well, he guessed at the right time and stepped right in front of that. He reads the route. It's DeAnthony Thomas, and that time Darren Thomas, the quarterback, catches a break. You're not going to see Matthew drop very many of those.
Second down and 10 for the Beleaguered Ducks. Coming in underneath on that throw to Josh Huff.
You know, Brennan, that third quarter, Oregon didn't have a first down. They had 9 plays for 4 yards. Just a lot of that could be attributed to some confusion. LaMichael James out, Kenyon Barner out. And that's when the true freshman, Thomas, ended up fumbling the football twice, and LSU able to capitalize on it.
See what they come up with here on 3rd and 7. Dove back for the unofficial first down marker, stayed in bounds on the reach play, and it'll depend on they're going to move the chains. They're going to give him the first down. So the chains are moving across the way.
First down of this half. Pretty good effort there by Simon. And I thought Simon may have made the play, and I think these fans are reacting because they think he was about a yard short of the first down. Of course, they have the ability to look at this replay on the big screen here at the stadium.
And now some other folks may look at the replay. They're going on over to Les Miles' sideline to see if he wants to challenge this. You can challenge the spot.
Oh, yeah.
It was 3rd and 6 from the 36. You got to get a big kick out of Les Miles.
The spot on the field.
No question. Remember, the yellow line is certainly unofficial.
Oh, yeah.
He's out of bounds.
Oh,
he's not even close to
He's 2 or
a
3
first down.
yards out of bounds.
That wasn't even close.
Yeah. That angle's pretty easy to see. How about Simon? Mo Claiborne, Simon, Tyrann Mathieu, Eric Reed, Ron Brooks, Boston, Brandon Taylor. I mean, they've got 6 back there that could play about anywhere in the country. And they lost Patrick Peterson.
Yeah, let's not forget Patrick Peterson.
You'd think they'd take a step back after Patrick Peterson left. How about Mathieu? He was a true freshman last year, wore 14. Peterson ends up leaving, and Mathieu decides to honor him by putting that number 7 on. Good call by Les Miles and the LSU fans here in the stadium. They were helping him make the call.
Speaking about instant replay, how about our buddy Jim Trussell getting a job with the Indianapolis Colts?
I saw that. Bill Polian.
Well, good for Trussell.
Absolutely.
I always thought that someday, Herbie, he could surface in the NFL. I really thought that sort of the system he ran at Ohio State, rather conservative, good on special teams, and maybe next year he'd become an assistant with somebody in the National Football League and see how it goes. It's nice to see him working again.
Yeah, absolutely, and it'd be interesting to see him in that capacity and how he'll be able to be very calculated and help out Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts. But interesting, some of the games, we still got some games tomorrow. We've got a game Monday night on ESPN. So one of these weekends where we didn't have a ton of marquee matchups, but we did have some excitement. And at least now we're starting to see some of these teams for the first time, which is always good.
Best game of the weekend was Baylor TCU.
Without a doubt. I mean, Robert Griffin's effort at TCU
to give them credit
to fight back.
Absolutely.
And I told Robert Griffin this morning on game day, I said, not just the way you guys made plays, but you guys were down late and answered to come down and hit that game-winning field goal to win it.
After review, the runner stepped out of bounds prior to gaining a first down at the 40-yard line. He will spot the ball at the 40-yard line. It will be 4th down and 2. LSU will not be charged a timeout.
And Oregon's already broken the huddle, and they're ready. They were kind of anticipating that, and they're ready to go for it here on 4th down. What other choice do they have, right?
You got to set the they set the chains to reflect that it's 4th and 2 here. So they'll get the chains moved over in front of the LSU sideline.
Let's see what Chip Kelly decides to do. LSU is in straight up man-to-man, walked up on the line of scrimmage against the 3 receivers. A lot of times the speed option could be good here for Oregon.
Could be very close, but it looked like LaMichael just kept on churning.
Well, he got a good spot, favorable spot there.
That would give him a first down. There's the signal from Scott Novak, the referee. 12.5 minutes to go, and the Ducks trying to fight back here. They scored in bunches last year. Deep. Incomplete. Turned his receiver around on the throw. 2-8.
A lot of drops tonight. 2-8. Ball's behind him. If that ball's thrown in front of him, he's got a chance to run with it. But I know this is a lot of new personnel for Oregon, but Brent, remember, this is a team that averaged over 500 yards of offense last year and 47 points a game.
Anthony Thomas was a little bit confused about the play and almost came off. 2nd down and 10. The left tackle moved. That's Darian Weems, number 74, who pulled out.
Weems has been playing with a right ankle that looks like it's been bothering him. Thought they may have lost him for the game, but he's been taped up on that right ankle. You can see outside of his shoe, and trying to give him an effort to be out there. But when you do that, you're trying to cheat a little bit and give yourself maybe a little bit of a head start against Sam Montgomery and the rest of the defensive linemen from LSU. Jumped a little early there.
2nd and 15, in trouble, but he drops it off to LaMichael James, and James will do the rest. Got the first down for the Ducks.
That time Weems did not get a quick head start, and they went right around him with Tyrann Mathieu. Now you got another offensive lineman, Carson York, who's an experienced player. Now he hobbles off for Oregon.
Thomas. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
He wanted LaMichael James on a wheel route, and that play's been open for the Ducks, even though they've not been able to hit it. But Eric Reed, the safety, just was eyeing LaMichael James the whole time, took that throw away, and Darren Thomas tried to come back to the right. Just nobody open. LSU, great job with their coverage there.
DeAnthony Thomas back on the field for the Ducks on this 2nd down. Drops in underneath. And 2-8 short of the first down. One of the things LSU is doing tonight and doing very well, they're tackling in space, which they knew they had to do against Oregon.
Yeah, gang tackle and tackling in space. I don't care who you are when you take on this offense. That's the first thing you hear from defensive coaches, and LSU has certainly done that.
3rd down and 4. Thomas going to scramble out and pick up the first down and get out of bounds on top of it. So overall, John Chavis has to be very pleased with what his defense has accomplished. Here's a man who, as a defensive coordinator, He was the coordinator at Tennessee when they won the first ever BCS championship. They beat Florida State. Chavis, graduate of Tennessee, played there, longtime assistant coach over there with Phil Fulmer, and now he is Les Miles' defensive coordinator. He always stresses funnel things to the linebackers, funnel them through. His linebackers are always excellent tacklers. First down and 10. Thomas comes in underneath, and there's DeAnthony Thomas, dances free. And DeAnthony down by the 20-yard line. He's going to be thrilling to watch.
Well, all he has to do is, with his speed, is if he can shake one tackle. And you talked about getting into the weight room in the offseason. He'll be able to do that starting next year. But if he can shake one tackle, he's got the kind of speed where he's going to leave most defensive backs. And he accelerated upfield very quickly that time.
Got plenty of time left here for these Ducks. They can keep this fire burning. And Michael James is out there. Darren Thomas, DeAnthony Thomas. The offensive line's had a lot of holes that they're trying to fill here tonight. Rolling to the right. And close to a first down is Darren Thomas.
Kind of feeling some urgency. Obviously, when you get down by 20 points, I think a lot of people wondering where's this urgency been from Darren Thomas and the Ducks.
Anthony danced a little bit and then kept going and appeared to have picked up the first down.
Now, one thing you don't want to do against LSU is dance. I mean, you got to get upfield as best you can.
Carson York has come back in at right guard. They're substituting that right guard position. Everett Benyard has played in there. Remember, they had some costly penalties at that position. Grassu has really appeared to hold up at center here tonight, but it's a work in progress with the rest of that offensive line here tonight for Oregon. So the Ducks now with a first and goal, chance to score, fake the end around. Darren throws for it, got it, touchdown Oregon. Josh Huff is at the receiving end and a well-executed fake.
Yeah, and DeAnthony Thomas, I think, has done enough in this game to get some attention. You would think LaMichael James would get most of the attention, but here he comes in motion, and just a little bit of a play fake, enough misdirection, and then you roll out the other way, and it's a levels route. There's a guy short, a guy midway, and a guy downfield to the back of the end zone, and of course he finds his man for the touchdown that time in Huff.
So that was a spirited drive by the Ducks that time, and they pulled back to within 13. Still a lot of time left in Arlington.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer. And Gears of War 3. Stay tuned for the world premiere Gears of War 3 trailer.
LSU leading Oregon by 13 with 9:14 to go here in the house that Jerry built in Arlington, Texas. 87,000 plus. Beard kicks it off for the Ducks. And taking it for the end zone is Claiborne. Claiborne's got a gap. There's a penalty flag. Penalty flag is thrown on the return. And it's probably a block in the back or a shove here.
During the return, block in the back, receiving team, number 57. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, we know that many of you are a little wet over there in Louisiana. We certainly hope that everybody is safe over there. This is Tropical Storm Lee, and expected to dump 10 to 15 inches of rain in a lot of places in Louisiana. And we certainly hope that your power is still on over there. But most important of all, we hope that all you folks in Louisiana are safe as that storm passes through. It is somewhat ironic that we've got Tropical Storm Lee, and here we've got a quarterback named Lee for LSU, Jarrett Lee, who tonight's 10 of 22 for 98 yards and the 1 touchdown. And he has the LSU Tigers ahead of the Oregon Ducks. And here is Ware battling toward the 15-yard line. As we go back to Jarrett Lee, who replaced the suspended Jordan Jefferson.
I look at those numbers, and you're not going to be impressed with the first 3 columns, but the last column, 0 interceptions, hasn't made a lot of mistakes. You know, for the style of offense that he's engineering, I think he's played pretty well, all things considered.
2nd down and 8 for the Tigers. Deep, got a man wide open for a touchdown, and Beckham couldn't run through it. Had to make the catch. He was wide open, and he stayed on his feet. But do we see a penalty flag back?
There's a flag in the backfield, which usually means holding, and I think it's going to be holding on LSU.
Half the distance to the goal. 2nd down.
We just talked about how is Jarrett Lee doing, and I love the play call here by Coach Studd, the offensive coordinator, thinking about, oh, LSU's just going to try to pull it in, work some clock, and they decide to go with a double move and try to get him downfield and make a big play. But
got the hand up high on the shoulder pad.
Nothing really stood out to me. Maybe there's something. You think it was because he came up a little bit high?
Because the hand was up high on the top of that pad. It didn't look good, and didn't seem to be much of a case of holding, but it's big for the Ducks. And Ford out to the 10-yard line, because 3rd down, if they can force a 4th down here, they can wind up with great field position again. But they have got to stop this LSU offense here. This is a big call. You wouldn't think so, leading by 13, but you don't want to give the Ducks great field position. Lonergan, the veteran, up over the ball. Ford is the running back. Beckham out to the right. And it is Ford on a cutback, and the Ducks have done just that. They have forced the punt now as Clay makes another stop for Oregon. He's their most active linebacker. And now we'll see Barner has come onto the field to return this punt. Am I right or not? No, it's James. Let me check that.
Yep.
I looked down and thought for a moment that it was Barner who had come back after going to the locker room, but instead, here comes their Heisman Trophy candidate.
And Wing has been booming the ball tonight for LSU.
Well, here comes, you know, I knew that name, the Scottish Claymores, the late lamented European League. His daddy punted for him for a while.
Going back on me there.
Here we go now. LaMichael is going to try to catch an edge. Thrown down with great coverage at the 35-yard line. So let's see what the Ducks can do here. Trailing by 13. You're watching Saturday Night Football on ABC. Fans, stay tuned after the game for your late local news over most of these ABC stations, and over on ESPN. Turn over to SportsCenter for post-game analysis, as well as today's scores and highlights. And here we go. Big drive, Herbie, for the Ducks.
We were just talking. They're down 13 with 6.5 minutes to go. They're going to have to score here, try to hold on to those timeouts. But about the 3-minute mark, if they can do that, they've got a shot here. This could be an interesting drive. See if they can score quick.
Need to avoid the silly penalties. 11 for 90 yards here tonight. On 1st down, Darren Thomas incomplete. Was a little bit short of Paulson, the tight end, and Matthew was looking again. What a dangerous defensive back he is.
Yeah, 5'9", 175 pounds, but is all over the field. He can line up at corner. They line him up at nickel over the slot receiver. They'll blitz him. Not only did he have a great Cotton Bowl last year against Texas A&M, as a true freshman, he was the playmaker, one of the key playmakers, even though Patrick Peterson got most of the attention last year.
2nd down and 10. Now it is suddenly 3rd and 10, and they don't want to be 3 and out at the 6-minute mark, down 13.
I really don't understand the first 2 plays against this secondary, those long throws, you know, against these defensive backs, and how quickly they break on the ball.
Simon has played well. Matthew has played nickel like he is right now. Claiborne on the other corner. They're coming back, and they're still well short of that first down. This is a 4th down. You're down by 13 points, and let's see what he dials up here. No indication that the punting team is coming out on the field. He knows he's got to get 2 scores here, so he's going for it.
2 and 8 at the top, maybe on a crossing route. They had some success with that.
Incomplete. LSU football at the 40-yard line, and they can grind the clock now.
Well, those first 2 plays were such long throws, and they didn't have much of a chance at all being successful. And then on 3rd down, again, they went off to the right. You put LSU's defense in 4th down, they're going to pin their ears back, and they did a good job with coverage. That's more really of coverage downfield. But LSU's defense, as they've done for most of the night, steps up big again for the Tigers and Les Miles.
LSU led it only about 17-13 when those 2 fumbles hit in the 3rd quarter, and the game hasn't been the same since. Oregon did score to make it a 13-point game, but now they turn it over on downs, and Jarrett Lee and this veteran offensive line will go to work on this clock. Here's the toss to Ware. Ware behind the right guard, Will Blackwell. Stay tuned for the Ford wrap-up after the game, and a reminder, fans, to log on to bcstailgate.com for your chance to win the ultimate tailgate F-150. So LSU is going to stay in the top 5, Herbie. They're going to start to climb. They're going to be dreaming of a home game in the BCS championship, but a lot of things ahead of them in that rugged SEC West. Don't forget, they've got to go to Tuscaloosa later in the year, but Les Miles has got himself a contender. No doubt about that. 2nd down and 9, and Ware again, 1st down against that tired defense down by the 25-yard line. And for Oregon, they're going to need to regroup now. Stanford has to take heart in what's happening here in the Pac-12 North. Everybody out there's got to feel a little bit better. I don't know what the Huskies are going to come up with this year up in Seattle. Sarkisian.
Yeah, and then Oregon fans are saying, let's not forget 2009 when they opened with a loss that year to Boise State on the road and regrouped a little bit and eventually ended up winning that championship and getting to the Rose Bowl. So we'll see what happens with the Ducks. There's some talent on this team. They don't have the depth that you see at LSU, but they definitely have the talent.
The chant has begun. LSU and then SEC for some of them.
That'll follow it.
And Ford, as we take a look at what LSU, and of course, when you look ahead to games against Arkansas, Auburn will come up. They'll be better than they showed today, that's for sure. Got to go to Mississippi State. Listen, West Virginia is going to be no gimme on September 24th.
Yeah, I mean, and you're on the road at Alabama. I mean, the SEC, it's every week. I mean, once you get into conference play, even games that you think will be easy are going to be tough. You go to Tennessee, that's a tough game. You know, you go to Ole Miss, that's a tough game. So, but it's a great football team with a great defense. Special teams, again, appear to be solid. The offense is going to get better each week. It'll be a fun team to watch this year.
2nd down. Here's Ford spinning, battling for the 1st down, which he gets. The end is near. LSU is going to apparently win here today. You know, one other point we want to make. Jordan Jefferson hasn't been found guilty of anything yet. So everybody just hold on to that resolution.
Right. We'll kind of stay tuned, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But let's go back. All the talk about Jarrett Lee, how would he do? You know, they're not going to be able to have the same offense without Jordan Jefferson. His numbers aren't going to blow you away. 10 of 22 for 98 yards, but I think he's been very efficient. He's made a lot of checks at the line of scrimmage, try to get his team in the right play. And it's first week of the season. There aren't a lot of quarterbacks out there playing perfectly, but he'll learn from this and he'll continue to get better for this offense.
And Ford breaks free at the 5. Touchdown. Michael Ford, sophomore from Leesville, Louisiana, with a little frosting for the Tigers.
How about this? The way this game has gone, to look back, and you've got Spencer Ware at 99 yards and now Ford at 96 yards. Both backs close to the century mark. And this is kind of, again, give Les Miles and Coach Studd, the offensive coordinator, a lot of credit sticking to their guns and kind of running their offensive game plan. And they got the breaks that they needed from the defense and special teams, and the offense eventually got going for both backs, close to 100 yards.
And suddenly, we've had 60 points scored. Unfortunately for Oregon, 40 of them by LSU. We've had a wonderful night in Arlington. Love coming here. These great blimp shots, aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned. Making tires for superior performance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. We'll see at Ann Arbor, Michigan's first night game. Next Saturday night. Remember, it's on ESPN rather than ABC. Irish hope to bounce back. Tough loss at the hands of South Florida. And Lou Holtz's son, Skip Holtz, today. Big win for Skip. And returning that is DeAnthony Thomas. Well, folks, the new season, and I'll promise you some controversy with this one now. Dancing with the Stars. Monday said, no, the Ducks not invited. September 19th, the most surprising cast ever, but it has a couple of your favorites. Soccer goalie Hope Solo.
Yeah, I'm pulling for Hope.
And LA Laker Ron Artest. I don't know what name he's going to use. We got a lot of people with changes on that show.
I remember there was a day when
you
never heard of Dancing with the Stars.
You touted me on it.
You're
It's
keeping
now
me
my
informed.
favorite
You're keeping me dialed in.
I never missed it when Aaron Andrews was on. We watched every week, my wife and I. Incomplete on the pass. But I'll tell you, what a controversy has been sparked. You know, I don't quite understand everything.
I don't either. I wonder who's Aaron's picking there. I'm picking Hope Solo. I'm going to go with the
We can rally with Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. She did a great job with the United States soccer team this summer. Finally lost the championship, but what a great performance. Darren Thomas here as the final 2.5 minutes coming up. 2-A. 2-A's been pretty active here tonight. Herbie's kind of half dozen passes for the Ducks. He and the freshman Thomas. Thomas has got 6 for 47 yards.
I think the plan was to use 2-A. We talked about it all game. The freshman Thomas, Barner, Josh Huff, and LaMichael James all on the field together. But with the cramping in the third quarter, they had to get away from that. And that's when LSU really started to take the game over.
Hoffman. And so remember, we showed you that graphic about how difficult the Aflac trivia, how difficult it is to win a national championship after you lose your first one. But there's a Pac-12 conference championship this year. Ducks will still be favored in the North, I believe, Herbie. If they're not them, it's going to be Stanford. That's for sure.
Yeah, you would think those two teams would be the favorite. Looks like Weems, the left tackle, move. But let's talk a quick second about Oregon and the credibility that they are trying to achieve, not just on the West Coast, but nationally. And, you know, they earned a lot of that last year.
On the offense, number 74, 5-yard penalty, first down.
They earned a lot of that last year by getting to the national championship, but after a loss like this on a big stage against another SEC power, there are a lot of fans around the country that are just going to say, you know, they're out of the Pac-12, no big deal. And you can see the end of the year is where it's going to get tough for them if they're going to try to make a run and get to a BCS bowl game.
Hats off to LaMichael James. You know, tough night, not taking the rest of it off, had some cramps, came back, returned punts, broke the career rushing record. And that's incomplete from Darren, intended for the freshman. So there are the stats tonight. 54 yards. And a touchdown. So both Auburn and now LSU, they have shut him down at the line of scrimmage, haven't they, Herbert?
Yes.
Here he is catching a pass in the middle of the field. Good receiver down to the 40-yard line.
I think if there's anything for the Pac-12 teams to learn, now you don't have a lot of defensive linemen in the Pac-12 the way you do with LSU and Auburn last year.
Exactly.
But you're going to have to try to commit to the line of scrimmage in the running game and take your chances with Darren Thomas in the passing attack. And it's not as if the Pac-12 hasn't tried that in the past and Thomas has made them pay for it. But that's what they're going to try to do this year. It's not a reflection of Thomas. It's more about the receivers. Jeff Mail's not lined up out there. So DeAnthony Thomas and Barner and Huff are going to have to really come on with their route running to help Thomas and James out in that backfield if Oregon's going to turn this thing around offensively and start to get it going. But they're not going to play another defense close to what they faced tonight.
They did not. The Ducks now we're talking about it. But let's watch Darren here on this second down. Is he going to pick it up? Yes, he is. This could be another first down. The clock will stop, and nifty little run. I just can't tell you how much I admire James, who just keeps on battling here with time running down and time running out. I want to go back to the defense. Only one turnover tonight, and it was just a blunder on the part of LSU. The quarterback was walking to call timeout, and the center snapped the ball past him, and the Ducks recovered that loose ball and kicked a field goal after that. But if you go back to that Auburn game, and again, they forced that fumble late, there were issues forced by that defense. You didn't have Cliff Harris tonight suspended. You didn't have that big interception. One of the big differences with Oregon tonight. They forced 8 turnovers.
Yeah, and again, you go back to the championship game. Darren Thomas, career high in pass attempts, was a national championship when he had 40 against Auburn, and he broke that tonight because he's had to throw the football tonight 52 times against another powerful SEC defense. It's going to be fun to watch LSU continue to move and grow. And Greg's, Brent, the offensive coordinator, Coach Studd, really, I thought early in the game they were feeling their way, but let's give them credit. The numbers aren't crazy, 275 yards, only 98 yards passing, but when they sensed blood in the water, there he is again right in the middle, and Steve Cragthorpe off to the right.
Let's talk about Steve Cragthorpe. He was the offensive coordinator and then struck with Parkinson's disease, and so now he's a quarterback coach. Young man from Missoula, Montana. And he has worked with Jarrett Lee, and it's just great to see him back on the field. And Coach Studd moves in there on the left-hand side. He's a veteran offensive line coach, and they did a good job up there tonight.
Yeah, they did. And Steve has done so much, you're right, for Jarrett Lee and Jordan Jefferson. But Studd called plays when he was at Bowling Green after Urban Meyer left to go to Utah.
So it's a first down and goal inside the 5-yard line. There's David Paulson. So the Ducks trying to get another touchdown here in the final 22 seconds of the ball game. And it's the freshman's first touchdown. DeAnthony Thomas, number 6, and what a career he figures to have up in Eugene. Out of Crenshaw High School, there was a verbal commitment to USC, but in the end, when he went up to Eugene, he liked the community, he liked the coaches, he liked the teammates, and he committed to Oregon. And you can just see the future. When he gets stronger, he won't be fumbling the ball like that. They won't be knocking it out of his hands, because he'll just get stronger, and it'll become a much stronger grip on the football. It's one of those unfortunate things, but now he has his first touchdown, Herbie, and I know you're pleased for the young man.
Yeah, and not only that, the drive. The drive doesn't mean anything in this game, but you're down, the game's over, and it's easy to just shut it down and just say, you know what, it doesn't really matter. What's the big deal if we score or not? But when you're at the first game of the season, a head coach is looking for more than just execution. The head coach is looking at heart. Who's going to compete? Even though this game is over, who wants to continue to compete? And that time the offense competed down the field.
So I see Oklahoma and Alabama staying there 1-2, and what, LSU would climb to 3, and Boise State and Florida State. Well, you tell me. You're a voter.
Well, I think that you're definitely going to see LSU move up, probably up to 3. Boise State, if they are able to hold on and secure a victory against Georgia, they're going to be in there 4. And you said it earlier, we've been talking about a lot in the preseason. If Boise State got by Georgia, they're going to be favored the rest of the year. It's going to be the big issue is going to be if they run the table, they'll be favored in every game. And an Alabama and an Oklahoma and an LSU eventually lose down the road. Undefeated Boise, we get into this debate every year.
They won. This final just came through.
Oh, it's over. Yeah. Then, you know, but undefeated Boise down the road, they're going to be that team once again that everybody's going to be kind of wondering, could they potentially create the controversy for the BCS?
Indeed, they could be the ultimate BCS buster.
Yep.
Because they got, you know, they're up high now. They set sail. Kellen Moore, another outstanding young quarterback.
I think he had 4 incompletions, 4 incompletions tonight.
So the onside kick, and the one thing that Utah State will practice is go after an onside kick. Don't wait for it to come to you. And Randall did just that for LSU, and that'll do it. The Tigers prevail here. We got 12 seconds left as they bring the offense out for one final snap. They'll give us a victory formation. And the hat has done it again. That's that peak and that cap that Les Miles wears. That's why he got that nickname. When you take a look at his record, folks, one word to describe him: underrated. I know we make fun of some time management problems and things, chewing grass on the sideline, but Les Miles does a heck of a job of coaching. And he did again here, getting this team ready after that distraction. Chip Kelly over there. Shake hands. Well, Les.
We're walking.
LSU Network ready to go to work. Tyrann Mathieu with that big forced fumble on the punt. And let's check in with Aaron Andrews and Coach Les Miles.
I don't have to tell you what you've been through, but you told us an exhausting couple of weeks with everything that went on off the field with your team. You play your backup as the starter tonight in a national championship setting. How do you put this into words?
Our football team's united. They play together. If you put a ball on a line, they'll scrap you for it. This is a great group of guys.
You told me before the game you wanted Jarrett Lee just to have fun, stay calm. When did you notice he was doing that?
Well, I think he did the things that we needed to do to win, and he made some plays that we really needed to have him. So it's all a progress, all a process that he'll have to go through, but he can play better than he did today.
And then the defense really did some things that you like. What was the key in finally getting through to Oregon's tempo?
Well, to me, we played with an intensity that started the first play and ended the last play. And I challenged them, as did our defensive staff. John Chavis did a great job. But we asked them to be ready. And ready was a big word. And, they ran a tempo offense, and it's a fast pace, and the reality is we were ready.
You certainly were, Coach. Thanks so much. And Jarrett, you've been through so much these past couple weeks, and also in your career here at LSU. Put tonight in words.
Yeah, it was just, it was a great win for us. We just, we knew we had a lot on our, a lot on our minds coming into this game, but we knew we just had to stay focused. And we played hard tonight. We ran the ball well. We threw the ball well, and we just stayed focused. They're a great football team. Give credit to them, but we just played hard and got the W.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Well, Aaron, thank you very much. And Herbie, your final thought on this win by LSU?
Well, it's been a long time since we saw two top 5 teams play in the opening weekend. There's a lot at stake here, of course, with the BCS. That's the way it's set up, and LSU prevailed. Their defense dominated the football game, and there was a battle once again at the line of scrimmage. And Jarrett Lee, I thought Les Miles put it perfectly. He did what he had to do. He managed the game, made smart decisions, and avoided the big mistakes, and put themselves in a position to be able to win. But you'll always look back at that third quarter where LSU took advantage and got after the true freshman, DeAnthony Thomas, and forced those 2 turnovers.
Congratulations to both schools for playing a game like this to start the season with so much on the line. LSU beats Oregon 40-27. Next Saturday on college football prime time, ESPN at 8 Eastern. We'll go to Ann Arbor. Michigan takes on Notre Dame. First night game ever in the big house. Won't that be something? Thanks for watching ESPN on ABC. Now we're going to take you to the studio for the Ford wrap-up, and here's Robert Flores. Take it away, Robert.